Do we have no video? There we go. Ooh, what's up? Internet, my name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clairus.
And this is yet another very different episode of the Nerdy Wordy Book Club, because we're still in Calgary.
Still in Calgary. We switch things up a little bit. It's still going to be a little echoey in here, so sorry about that. But we're doing our best.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I turned 30 yesterday. And so these balloons are from my stream yesterday. Thank you to everyone who was there for my birthday stream. It was very fun. I really appreciate you all so much for making that such a special day. I'm older.
So old.
Yeah, and so now that I have crossed the age of 30, I can no longer read fantasy. I have to read nonfiction from now on, so this will be my last episode of the Nerdy Wordy Book Club.
Yeah, no, that's
Clarice will take over from here.
That's not how that works. James, thank you for joining the Nerd Table.
Yeah, welcome, Nard. Thank you so much for the birthday wishes, y'all. I really appreciate it. It was a very fun day. But having said that, there were two thoughts in my brain as I turned 30. And one of them is, I can't wait for Friday to talk about this section of the Wheel of Time.
Oh, God, yeah, seriously. Oh, man.
Oh, what a week.
Yeah.
This is definitely the fastest, or not the fastest, but the earliest in the week I've ever finished the reading.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, holy crap, did we have a section?
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a section to talk about?
There was a super chat that we missed up here. What? Look at that.
How? Okay, let me try and.
Was it before? Oh.
Methany, thank you for the belated happy birthday and the Glass Columns Day. It is Glass Columns Day. Thank you for that super chat, Methany.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. So Clarice, now that we have read what is probably like the craziest section ever, how are you feeling about this week's Wheel of Time? I want to know your thoughts.
Well, dang. Now I can see why everybody was so excited for this section in particular, because there are so many things that happen.
Yeah.
And we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Not a lot of like prophecy or like prediction type things, but like there's
a little bit with Matt.
Sure, there's just like so much that happened. So yeah, I love that for us.
Should we dive into it?
I think we should. Is this fully charged?
It's plugged in.
Cool. Once it's charged, we'll unplug it so the fans turn off.
They don't. They kind of just keep going.
Oh, for my stream it stopped.
Really? Oh, it did not for mine. Yeah, chapter 16, Leave Takings. We start with Perrin. Perrin is leaving the Stone of Tyr. He's trying to get out of Dodge, and he is planning his route back to the town he grew up in. He's like, much like me, currently in the town I grew up in the house that I grew up in. Perrin is like, I gotta go home. White cloaks are making things bad in Emmons Field.
Yeah.
And he's trying to get Faile to not come with him.
Yeah, in like the dumbest. He's like, I'm looking for rumors so that Faile will go do something else. I'm like, dude, that's not how this works.
Yeah, and so he goes to visit Loial. We finally get Loial in
finally,
this book.
Yeah, I legitimately was like, is Loial gonna be in this at all?
They're just gonna leave him in the library. They're like,
He's gonna write his book, and we're not gonna worry about it.
We'll get back to that.
Yeah.
No, we go. Perrin goes to Loial's room, and there's just flowers everywhere. Because in the middle of all the craziness last night, when all the the Fades, the Madral, those are the same thing. Trollocs were attacking. Loial was the one who gathered all the kids and all of the like young women who couldn't fight for themselves, put them in a room, and just like shoulder into the door, held off the onslaught. And like, if you didn't love Loial before, if you didn't love Loial,
you are legally obligated
you have
to
now, right? Like, what an incredible character.
Yeah, 100%.
This is one of those moments that is we find out about later in the books. In the show, you have to show this, right? You have to give us this visualized, because it's so unbelievably cool.
Yes, absolutely. And then Faile is like using that against him. It's like, yes, you live up to your name, loyal. By the way, did you remember that promise you made me? And I was so.
You don't like Faile anymore.
Not necessarily true, but now I understand why a lot of people don't like her. Because when we first met the character. there was a lot of differing opinions in the chat that I noticed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, really? Okay. Like, Faile seems like pretty cool. It's not that I don't like Faile. It's that I can understand why people don't like her. Because right now she's pissing me off. But also Perrin is pissing me off. They're dumb.
Here's my thing. If you don't like Faile for this, then you also can't like Perrin for this. Because they're using the exact same tactics on each other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they are both doing the exact same thing.
Oh, yeah. Which is why I acknowledge that they're, like, the two of them, nightmare.
Bob C, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Love this. We're only halfway through, but we love this
book
book as well.
is...
Well, we're not even halfway through. No, we're almost halfway through.
No, we're halfway through, I think. Or...
At 29,
we're like just
we'll be
short.
halfway through.
Yeah.
Also, y'all, we might have a special guest today. So, stay tuned to the end of the stream, because we might have a live guest in the room who has read all of Wheel of Time.
Who knows Wheel of Time? Yeah.
Let's all tease for the end of the show. Faile has basically made Loial promise that if anyone is going through the ways, she gets to go first. Which is such a weird...
I want to know the conversation, how she manipulated him into that.
I want her to work for us. I want her to be our, like, social media manager. Like, Faile gets it done, y'all.
Yeah, she needs to be our salesperson.
And Perrin is like, God damn it. And so Faile's like, if you want to come with me, you have to ask. And Perrin's like, no, I'm just going to follow you.
Yeah.
And Faile's like, okay, fine. But we're going to the Two Rivers. I love her so much.
Is it me? Am I the drama?
Faile is the drama.
Yes.
Faile is 100% the drama.
But
and
so is Perrin.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, sure. It's fun to read, but it also makes me angry because Perrin is like avoiding her to try and find like another thing. I'm like, how did you think that would go?
I think that it's I think that it is perfect for Perrin. Because Perrin needs someone who is going to be as stubborn as an Emmons Fielder. And so I don't think that Perrin could have been with just anyone. He needs someone who is going to be as stubborn as he is. And so she becomes the perfect relationship for him because she is not willing to back down. And I think that every Emmons Fielder needs someone who is not willing to back down.
Yes. Yeah. For sure. And it's not that like it's not I'm not upset with Perrin for wanting to go home to protect his family.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah. No, it's the relationship between him and Faile and how they deal with it and how they literally cannot communicate to one another. Like, and as we move on, Perrin is like equally as antagonistic. Like Faile's like calling him like a puppy or whatever, and the Aiel think it's hilarious. But also, like, he's also antagonizing her.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm like, God, it's like watching like 15-year-old like high school drama again.
Gunlever does bring up an interesting point. It's Perrin's choice. She does not have the right to make that choice for Perrin. That's a huge theme in the series. I understand that point of view.
What's Perrin's choice?
Whether he wants to be with her or not.
Oh, be with her, yes. But Faile knows something's up, right? Like, Perrin had a, like, huge dramatic shift. And, like, if you spend a lot of time with somebody, and granted they haven't had a lot of time, but they have been, like, getting to know each other, like, that is, like, a sign that something's wrong. And I think Faile knows that Perrin is just going without, like, not like a plan, but like she's worried about him, even though she's pissed off at him.
Well, and I think that it shows a level of care on Faile's part, right? I think that sometimes in life, and I want to be careful saying this because this can also go too far and become abusive. But sometimes in life you have to like force the people you love to acknowledge that you are loving them. And that can be really hard sometimes, but sometimes that's what people need. And I think it would be harder to say this if we didn't have the insight into what Perrin is thinking. But Perrin is literally like, I am going to go on a suicide run and die. And so it's tough for me because there's a part of me that's like, I understand the idea of like parents' choice, but at the same time, if someone cared about me and knew I was having those kind of thoughts and wanted to aggressively force themselves into my life to try and help me, I don't think necessarily that they're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I think that there's a reason why like intervention is a tactic that is recognized by every psychological board I've ever heard of.
And it's hard at first. Like it is like the hardest thing that you can do. But sometimes it is the right thing to do for someone. And I don't know if Faile completely understands what's going on. In this moment, but she does have good instincts. And I just like, they both piss me off, but I also feel badly for both of them in this situation because I also understand what Perrin's trying to do. And so, it's like messy and it's written well that you don't like hate Faile because it's from Perrin's perspective. Like it's really well rounded in terms of like both of them, and then also Loyal.
Cooper, thank you so much for joining the Nargs of the Nerd Table. Enjoy your little Narg biatch. Matrick 76 says relationships are complicated. Who knew?
Yeah.
Agreed.
Shocker.
Also, there is an element also of this where I'm like, how much is his Taviran-ness pulling her towards forcing her? Like we saw when when Rand passed through that village and everyone wanted to get married, and the Taviran of these characters affects the people around them. I wonder if his Taviran-ness affects her even more because she loves him, and if like the Taviran is pushing her to do whatever she can to stay near him, sort of in the same way that his Taviran like connection to Rand is. Like he feels it in the back of his head pulling him towards the Stone of Tyr. Yeah. I wonder if like she has the same thing that's like you have to stay with Perrin no matter what. Yeah. And if it's almost like not even an active choice, but like it is this subconscious like yearning for him that she can't control.
Well, and we talked about it in the previous section.
James Smith, thank you for joining the Nards.
James Smith, welcome to the Nerd Table.
Yeah.
We talked about in the last section of like why like Faile attacks Elayne, right? She's like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, and yet I'm kind of doing it anyways. And a lot of people think that that's the Taviran-ness.
Yeah.
Right? And
people
so, like,
make these like egregious overreactions.
Yeah, and so it stands to reason that this is what is happening to Faile here as well, and especially because she loves him.
The one thing I don't like about that is, I don't necessarily love the idea that the book series. That characters aren't in control of their actions, because I think it is more interesting when characters are in control of their actions. Yeah. And so I worry a little bit about leaning too much on the Taviran-ness in terms of our reading of the books. Yeah. Because I want to believe that Faile really does want to be there more than anything, right? Yeah. But I don't know. I think we should move on. We have talked about one section of one chapter. Yeah.
But that relationship is complicated, and I think it deserves some air time, I guess. I don't know.
The one part of this I did want to mention is I loved when Perrin is like, Loyal, have you heard from your mom?
Yeah.
I was like, Perrin,
oh my god. Matthew, welcome back to the Nerd Table.
Oh yeah, maybe we should go to the Two Rivers. My mom's nearby. Matthew, thank you so much. 3 months, my dude.
3 months. Let's go.
We switch over, we're still in the same chapter. We switch over to Elayne. And Elayne is getting ready to leave with Nynaeve. We get this, we get some letter stuff that I understand that like, we were actually talking about this with our special guest last night, that...
Ginny, thank you so much for the super chat.
Thank you for the birthday. Oh my god, thank you. That is really too kind. On my first read through too, and love watching you guys every week. Ginny, I love that there's other first readers. I love that it's not just people who finish it, but we also have people who are like on the same plane as us. So welcome in. Hi.
It's fun. Before we move on super quick, I just want to say we did run into some of you at con, and I obviously don't want to like call people's names and like out them, but it was really, really nice, and it really made our weekend. So thank you for saying hello.
I'm not gonna lie, I cried. We were at Calgary Fan Expo this weekend, and I have always dreamed about being recognized at a convention because I'm a big nerd, and I was like and I'm an actor, and I was like, one day I'm gonna do a project and people are gonna recognize me, and I'm gonna go to a convention and people are gonna stop me and be like, nerdy. And 2 people did that this weekend, and you both know who you are. And so I just want to say a huge thank you to you because that was very special for me. You really made my weekend in a way that I didn't even think was possible. So thank you.
Yeah, Rantomore, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the birthday wishes, y'all. It means a lot. It really does. I'm 30. Oh my god. So yeah, Elayne writes Rand some letters. That I just... Elayne... I've been your biggest champion. You know that. Elayne, I've been Team Elayne. And I'm like, Elayne, don't write too confusing letters. Rand has a lot going on.
Yeah.
And there's a weird part of these books where, like, all of the characters are confused that the people they think love them don't want them to be in danger. And they're like, why doesn't this person want me to go to war with them? And they're like, I'm like, what? They don't want you to die.
Yeah.
Exalted Clown, thank you for this joining the nerds.
Nerd table. Thank you.
And I just, like, it's this recurring theme of, like, the problem in everybody's relationship is that the one party doesn't understand that the other party doesn't want them in harm's way. And I think that I would enjoy it more if it was, like, one relationship had that and there were problems in other relationships that were different. But the Faile and Perrin relationship problem and the Rand Elayne problem in this scene are the same problem.
Yeah.
And I'm like, can some of you, like, just, like, use a little bit of creative thinking?
Come on. It's everybody's first relationship, so everybody fucks up, you know?
Avendasora and Mark Torres, thank you for joining the Nards.
Thank you guys so much.
I think we're going to be talking about some Avendasora later, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, enjoy those emotes and, you know, the no ads, right? That's nice. Yeah, that's always very nice.
But then Lan bursts in the room. And we get one of the, like, steamiest scenes in all the books where Lan is angry, so he like strides across the room and, like, grabs Nynaeve.
I know.
And he's like, how? Why are you going to Tanchico?
Yeah. And okay, the best part about this chapter is that Nynaeve is so much like Moiraine.
Yeah.
And Lan calls her out on it. Not like in those words, but it's like, you are using these Aes Sedai tricks of not saying the full truth and like letting people believe like a seed of an idea and like go from there. And like, I just, oh my god, I was like, Nynaeve, you better watch yourself because you're not gonna like who you become. You know, the problem is that's the kind of stuff that is necessary for what they're doing. And so maybe Nynaeve will just forgive Moiraine one day. Maybe.
But Lan probably needs to be forgiven for this. He grabs her and kisses her hard. And he does so until, I am quoting here, her kicks slowed and stopped, which means that he picks her up off the ground.
She's like flailing her legs.
Flailing, and he's just kissing her.
He's like, I do not care. I have wrestled Trollocs. This is easy.
And she only really gets mad at him for kissing her where the whole world can see. So I don't think she dislikes the kiss. I think she's like, not in front of the little girls. Not in front of the children, man.
Yeah, literally.
Do you think that this is the first time they've kissed in the books? Obviously, they've had full-blown intercourse in the show at this point.
No. They've been walking the ramparts.
They've been walking, but like, do you think this is the first time they've kissed?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't think so.
I guess it would make sense, because I think that it would take her more by surprise, yeah. Because she would be like, not in front of the kid, she'd be like, oh my god, that was our first kid, or you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It definitely, yeah.
Yeah, that would be kind of weird.
I think you're right.
don't think it's the first time. I think they've gotten a little spicy.
And so Nynaeve has not told Lan, which means that Moiraine has not told Lan that they're hunting the Black Asha, probably because Lan would throw a shit fit, right? And Lan does not know why they have the Amerlin's letter. Like they're keeping secrets. Everyone, this is the book where everyone is keeping secrets.
Yeah, literally.
Apparently, like, Berlain has secrets, Faile has secrets, Perrin is keeping the Wolf Brother thing from Faile. Rand won't tell anybody what he's doing until the last minute because he's smart.
Yeah. It's funny because like we're like almost halfway through the book and I really do miss the Wolf Brotherness. But we're also going to like a small town in the middle of nowhere, so I think that's going to play a heavy. No, I think that's going to be a heavy part of the second half of the book.
Yeah, and so the girls are going to leave, and at the end of the chapter, Elayne decides she is going to write Rand a fiercer letter because men need a strong hand. Love it. Chapter 17. deceptions.
Disgrace.
We start with Thom. And Thom and Moiraine have a conversation in which Moiraine teaches Thom that he's not the best at the Game of Houses because he doesn't have all the information. And that in order to succeed at the Game of Houses, you have to know everything. And it seems like Moiraine knows everything.
Like, well, I mean, you know, she doesn't know what Rand is going to do, and she didn't know that Perrin ran away. But, like, God, I would never play Moiraine at chess. You know, like I would never lose. And it's interesting getting her POV.
Yeah.
Like, not in this section, but later on. And oh man, and I feel bad for Thom. Reading this chapter was tough. Because I could see what Moiraine was doing and why she felt it necessary, but also it just was like poking Thom right where it hurt. Whereas I was really hoping that they would work together instead. That they could come to an understanding and, like, help one another. Because, like, could you imagine Moiraine and Thom Merrilin playing the Game of Houses together?
But that would involve their goals lining up, right? And that's what's tough about it. Javid, thank you for being a 4-month member of the Nerd Table. What's up, you nerd?
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's one of those things where, yeah, they would have to have the same goals. And that's tough because Thom wants to keep Rand free of being, like, leashed to the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And I don't know a better word, but like whereas Moiraine wants Rand to trust her implicitly and be able to, like, she wants to be able to guide him.
Yeah.
And so the problem is, yeah, they do have different goals, but they also want the same outcome in a way where, like, they win and the Dark One is defeated. So it's like,
yeah, but there's just that inherent distrust of the Aes Sedai built into Thom that I totally understand, right? With what happened to his nephew Owen.
Well, then, and then Moiraine just reinforces it by manipulating him into doing what she wants, right? By being like, I have this information, I will give it to you.
Duro says, hello, my name is Moiraine Damodred. You killed my brother. Prepare for me to be totally cool with it. He was the absolute worst. Was King Galbraith, I think? Was that Moiraine's brother? I mean, it makes sense. They're Damodreds. I thought they were like cousins or something. I didn't think.
No, the king. It's not a Damodred on the throne.
Yeah,
because they haven't. They
the
lost
one that
it.
Thom kills.
No, I thought they lost. I thought the Damodreds lost. Like.
Yeah, it was.
Moiraine,
it was a Damodred.
Moiraine talks about the Damodred family kind of like falling from grace and then like losing all respect.
Oh, he was her uncle. Okay.
Yeah. I was it's not. Yeah. Uncle. Thank you, Darrell, for the super chat.
People are talking about how we didn't talk about the poem that Lan like comes up with in the moment in the last chapter.
Such a romantic.
I don't think I have it in front of me. I don't have the poem because we didn't have the book in here.
No, I didn't take a picture. I mean, you could get the book, but
yeah. Maybe we'll talk about the poem at the end with our special guest.
Yes, Lan writes poetry and it's hot. If you didn't think you could love Lan anymore.
Okay, where were we? We're in this conversation. Moiraine reveals that she has been following all of Thom's exploits. She knows exactly what he's doing. She knows about the little letters that he drops in pockets to get to Rand. And she doesn't want Thom near Rand because Thom is going to, give Rand an anti-Aes Sedai bias. And I really love this chapter. I really love this section because...
So well done.
It's so well written. It's hard to read because I love Thom Merrilin, and so it becomes tough to, like... I don't enjoy what he's going through, but in terms of watching two very intelligent characters go head-to-head, and the one who is playing the game a little bit better walks away winning, in a way that, like, was... I understood the whole conversation, I understood the stakes, and as it ratcheted up beat by beat by beat... I was right there with them the whole time.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed the way that Robert Jordan wrote this interaction because I love Moiraine. And I love Moiraine not because I think she's the best character, not because I think she's even a good person, but I love that Robert Jordan went, I'm going to create this woman who is going to consistently be single-focused on this goal that she's never going to turn away from, and he stuck with it. Like, the way that Robert Jordan has... I think Moiraine is one of the best characters in fantasy. for the reason that I think she is so three-dimensionally driven towards one goal, which can be so hard to write.
Yeah.
It is so easy to write one-dimensional characters who have a one-dimensional goal.
Yeah.
It is really hard to make someone who is so dedicated to one thing feel like she is this, like, fully embodied... I get what Rosamund Pike saw in this. I get why Rosamund Pike was like, I want to be Moiraine Demodred.
Yeah.
Because when I'm reading these books, there are some of these characters that sometimes flit between being three-dimensional and one-dimensional to me. I think that Elayne is one who sometimes flits that way. Nynaeve kind of, like, flits in and out of feeling real and kind of feeling like an amalgamation of, like, what the plot needs her to be upset about in this episode. Moiraine, to me, is the most consistently written woman in this series.
Yeah.
And I just think that Robert Jordan nailed it with this character. I think she's fantastic and I love her.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes, like this chapter, I hate her. Like, I'm like, you're a bad person.
Yeah.
But you're consistent.
Yes, she's very consistent.
Yeah.
I do feel bad for Thom, but he does decide to go with the girls. You know,
Yeah.
that information, whatever he decides to do with it, is valuable. And here's the thing: the people, the Aes Sedai who like gentled Owen might be Black Raja. Like, they may not even be at the tower. There might not be like a feasible way for Thom to like.
He might be on his way to kill them right now.
Yeah, literally though, and he doesn't
Yeah.
even know it. But we did miss one thing in the previous chapter.
What?
With Lan and Nynaeve,
Yeah.
we do get the conversation about, you know, like, Lan is like, I will come with you.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He's like, I will abandon Moiraine and I will
You're
come
right,
with
we just covered
you.
that.
And you know, and Egwene and Elayne, I believe this is the part where they sit around and talk about, like, he's like, what are you going to do about this, like, weird relationship? And and Nynaeve talks about that, like, she, like, I think it is this chapter where Nynaeve talks that she wants Lan to be, like, bonded to her, but not have that he had to leave Moiraine to be a wedge between them. She wants Moiraine to let him go, which is never gonna happen.
I think it is.
You think so?
Yeah, I think Moiraine is going to let Lan go with Nynaeve. I think that, like, it'll be like, I think that Nynaeve is going to be raised to full Aes Sedai. She's going to become a green, and then her and Lan are going to get married, and then they're going to, like, somewhere around, like, book 9, they're going to, like, have a kid or something. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be, like, a section of this world where, like, Nynaeve and Lan are off, like, doing something cool, and she gets pregnant, and, like, that becomes, like, part of her story. And they're going to have, like, because I think that they keep bringing up that Lan is the last of the Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And so I think that the way that Lan and Nynaeve's relationship is going to go in the series is that it is going to, like, restart the Valkyrie. And I feel like they hammer home how much Lan is the last of the Valkyrie in a way that makes me think that Robert Jordan is going to want to set up that Lan will get the chance to continue his bloodline so that the Valkyrie don't die, and he can't do that with Moiraine. So I feel like he has to end up with Nynaeve in order for that to happen. I think Lan will eventually sacrifice himself to his fight with the Shadow at the end of this series, knowing that Nynaeve is going to raise the next generation of Valkyrie.
Wow, yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of the direction they'll go with this.
I could definitely see that. Dakun also brings up a really, really cool point that happens later on, but when Amos is talking to Moiraine, that they weren't sure if Lan was going to be there with her.
Yeah.
Right? And like the consequences that would have, so that's fun. Ooh, but that section was very interesting to me because I honestly thought Nynaeve was hot-headed enough to just be like, yes, any way that he will be mine, I'll make him mine. But she's like, no, I don't want Moiraine to even have, like, a foothold or any kind of, like, wedge between us at all. Like, this is the way it has to happen. And it's like...
So Moiraine convinces Thom to go with Nynaeve and Elayne. Thom is, like, swayed, I think, mostly by the fact that Moiraine promises to reveal the Aes Sedai that gentled Owen. I also think that he has more of a care for Elayne than he's willing to admit. I don't think that you bounce a little girl on your knee and that completely goes away.
And she's the daughter of someone that you loved.
Yeah, even if he's like, I don't love her anymore. And I think everyone's kind of like, okay.
I mean, it's possible.
No, I'm not saying that he doesn't love her anymore. That's fine. He might not have a romantic attachment to her. I think that Thom is a good enough man. If he feels this way about Owen this many years later, he is the kind of man who is going to still care that Elayne is safe.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Like, he's still going to have that relationship.
Yeah. You're right, for sure.
Yeah. And so we go over and we finally get back to one of my favorite characters in these books. Mm-hmm. The second half of, or actually there's a third part of this chapter, but Min.
You know what's so funny? I was literally thinking when I finished reading the, last chapter, I was like, dang, I feel like I was like, where is Min? I was like, I feel like I didn't really get any of her in this section. And then I realized that because I had been reading it over several days, but so much had happened in the reading that, Min actually did have a part in this section. And, it just feels like so long ago in the span of the book events. You know what I mean? I was oh right.
And so one of the things I do love about Robert Jordan's writing, and I say that a lot because I love a lot about his writing, is he does bring back these smaller side characters a lot. Mm-hmm. And so he didn't bring back Bail Doman in this section. So where's my ship captain, Robert Jordan? Robert Jordan's dead. I don't think he can miss that. And
do you think Ship Captain saves the day at the end of this book somehow? He better.
Yeah. We get Laris or Laros or Lapras back, and I just love this story that Lapras has taken a shine to Min because she likes pretty flirtatious girls.
I know. Oh my god.
And so poor Min has this woman doting. I think it's that story of Laris has always been this she's probably always been a more, she's the kind of woman who watches the pretty flirtatious girls from the outside and, wishes that she was that kind of girl.
That she was, still, because I think she was.
Oh, you think so?
I think she was. I think she knows what's up. But, as you get older, there's other priorities, and she serves the Aes Sedai and, does, I think at one point, she was that girl. And
so I love that poor Min has this woman who desperately wants to help her be the best version of herself, mm-hmm. but it is not the version of herself that Min wants to be, and it's just so oppressive that this woman is trying to teach her how to walk and how to sit and
how to flirt. Oh god, yeah, it's too good. Yeah, Ship Captain says, make sure you like this video. Right now, hit that like button.
It do be important that you like the video. And so, Min is, she's checking out people's auras for the Amerlin seat.
I guess so.
And, the two Tweedledee and Tweedledum show up, which is kind of how I think of Galad and Gawain at this point.
Elmendreda, whatever. Oh my god, what a name. I kind of love it, but also it's so long.
Yeah, and so we find out that Galad, Tweedledum in this case, has been chilling with the White Cloaks in the pubs.
And has gotten this, handbook, Bible, I don't know, code of conduct, maybe, that they have and that they stand by, and...
I think it's, the book that Scientologists read, the Dianetics or whatever it is.
We can never go back to LA.
Yeah. You know what it was? Some missionaries from the White Cloaks came up to the White Tower and they rang the doorbell and they were like, hello. My name is Elder Whitecloak, and I would like to share with you the most amazing book.
Oh, God.
So yeah, Galad seems a little too interested in in this to me. Yeah. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. This is weird.
Here's the thing. It is something that makes complete sense to me for this character.
Really?
Yeah. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, right? Galad does not see, Galad is to do the right thing mm-hmm. for as many people as possible. And, the idea of the Children of the Light, I can see why he would gravitate to, because it's a rigid, hierarchy. I don't know. I don't know what the right word is, but their goal is to eradicate the dark and dark friends, and that is their whole manifesto, right? Mm-hmm. How they go about it obviously is heinous and horrendous, But there is no way that these White Cloaks would have the following that they did if they just came out and told everybody about these like awful, heinous things, right? They have a way of indoctrinating people that is enticing. They have to, right? Because otherwise, like, people will be like, no, what the hell, right? And the people who experience the White Cloaks' atrocities are like, no. But if you haven't seen that and experienced that, like Galad hasn't, he's been living in his White Tower or castle for his whole life. Yeah, it would look enticing, especially how you spin it, right?
Yeah, on one hand, yes. On the other hand, I feel like the White Cloaks are not welcome in previous Morgase's Caemlyn, right? Like, they're very much... like, his family is anti-White Cloak. And I don't know, it feels like... Galad feels like the kind of character to me that would, like, respect the people he's learning from. The warders, and, like, it just feels like he is disrespecting Hamar, the man teaching him, like, the warders that he's training with, by not taking their point of view in this. You know what I mean? Like, that's what feels weird to me. It feels like the indoctrination of the White Tower is also indoctrination. I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying that it is odd to me that he is spending all of this time with these men who I'm assuming he respects and that he wants to learn from, and that his family has this like generational respect for, and that he is so easily swayed by men in bars. I think it's partially just that Galad doesn't seem like the kind of guy that like goes to the bar every night. You know what I mean? Like, honor and duty to me would tell me that, like, he would see, like, hanging out in a bar as beneath him.
I think that Galad obviously thinks very highly of himself. And, he probably thinks, like, oh, I can be the person to fix this, right?
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Between people that, like, he respects. And it is, him going to the bar, yeah, that is a little bit odd to me, but him spending time with these people and then being able to, like, casually, not turn him, but, like, kind of, like, get him on their side, slowly over time in a casual setting, I think is, like, the easiest place to kind of get someone to see your point of view. And I think Galad is egotistical enough to think that, like, he has the answer to all of these problems. I agree with that. So
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't, because here's the thing.
Is slipping.
Robert Jordan wouldn't put this here if it wasn't going to go somewhere, and I don't like where it could go. Right? CJ Bootwell, thank you for the super chat. Congrats on leveling up.
Level 30!
That's what we should call it. I'm just leveling up every year. Yeah. We'll get rid of ages and we'll just have levels.
Yeah. We level up.
And if I die to a boss too many times, my wife, then I'll level down. That's how I'll get younger. You'll just have to beat me up.
That's not how this works.
My mom punched me on stream yesterday. Jeffers was like, yeah, your son is mean to me. And she's like, don't be mean to him. And I was like, why?
Wow, she's willing to believe a stranger on the internet over you.
Yeah, I know, right? Wild.
To be fair, we do bully you, Jeffers. You know.
Yeah, he does. So then, wow, we're moving so slow. Min sees Logain.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sees, like, glory around him.
Yeah, and I'm mad, because, like, you were right. I was like, what the heck is Logain gonna do at this point, right? And you're like, nah, Logain is coming back. He's doing something. I think
Logain is gonna... I think that Rand and Logain are gonna, like, meet up at some point.
Do you think Logain is going to be, like, Rand's advisor? Because he can kind of maybe teach him some things about the power, like you said? Yeah.
I think that Logain... And I think that... Because I was wondering, like, why would you cast this... Because I think the actor who they cast as Logain was incredible on the show. I really do. I think he's fantastic.
So why would you cast him as someone who's, like, S-tier level if you're not going to use him for more than, like, an episode?
And so I actually kind of like now that the show put more focus on Logain in those first episodes, because... I think he's going to be really important to Rand later on. I think that because Logain is the one person who kind of knows what Rand is going in on, except for Mazrim Taim, obviously, but Mazrim Taim is with the Black Aja at this point.
Well, they let him go.
No, he escapes. But he didn't escape himself. And a bunch of the Aes Sedai died. So the Black Aja, you have to
The
guess.
Aes Sedai definitely like broke him out. I don't know if he would have like stuck with. I wonder if he's with them or if he's like doing his own thing. I guess.
No, the Black Aja are influencing him to a bunch of Aes Sedai broke him out to go be the Dragon Reborn. Our Amico told us that was going to happen, and then it happened. It's too clean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For it to be like a third option.
Yeah.
And so she sees this like glory around Logain, and she's like, oh, this is bad. So she runs into Sawan's room.
Yeah.
Like straight into Sawan's room. And Sawan's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, like some subtlety, maybe? She's like, no, this is important. Which, like, kind of, but, like, it's not... Like, unless Min knew it was going to happen immediately. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's like, man.
And so we learned that there's bad stuff going on in the world, which we already knew, but there's starvation in Cairhien. Mm-hmm. There are Aes Sedai missing in Tanchico, so... Good thing we got some accepteds who are not fully trained going there to solve that.
Yeah.
And there is a prophet causing trouble and war in Arad Doman. What do you think that's going to be tackled in this book?
I think it might be, oh my god, what's
Ordeath?
No. I think that might be, wow, what's his name? One of the guys from Faldara, who, like, as soon as Rand, like, proclaimed himself, was, like...
He's not in Arad Doman, though.
I mean, I don't know where he is.
He's in, Baerlon, waiting for Moiraine.
Is he waiting there?
That's what Moiraine told him to wait in Baerlon, so I'm assuming he's doing that, right?
Maybe, I don't know. Mazima, yeah. I read it, and I was like, is that Mazima? That was my first thought.
Mazima's not a prophet, though. Mazima is, like, a herald of the dragon.
Yeah, but he, like... I don't know. I feel like he's the kind of guy who would, like, take it on himself to be like, guys, I know what's up.
Yeah.
So...
so Swan gets mad at Min. She's like, this could have waited. You could have done this better. You could have...
Yeah.
You could have done this a little bit better. And so a novice arrives with dos letters. 2 of them. Mm-hmm. And the first one, they have to, like, pretend that Min is being, like, scolded. They're like, well, how dare you break into my room, Elmendreda? And she's like, my feelings for 2 boys.
God.
I love it. I love poor Min. I love this character so much. And she's like...
I know.
She is forced to do everything she hates to do, and she hates it.
Yeah, and Gawain is just being such a little shit.
Yeah.
And, like, as soon as they're, like, away from, like, Galadriel, she's like, I'm gonna make your life miserable. She gets so mad. I love it.
And so we learn that Mazrim Taim has escaped. Mm-hmm. Look pouty, not angry. Yeah, that's funny, Franklin.
Look pouty.
I really like that. So Swan says, I'll not risk another Gwyer Amalasan. Do you know what that is? Is that something? I don't think that's something we've heard about in the book so far. I think that this must be like a former false dragon. But it's weird to me that she doesn't say, I'll not risk another Logain.
I mean, well, yeah, I guess.
You know what I mean? Like,
Logain caused a lot of destruction.
He destroyed, brought down Gildan, right? Like, it's weird to me that, what the hell did Gwyer Amalasan do?
Yeah, is it an event? Is it a name? Yeah, wait, it's
Oh, is it a place? Oh, that's interesting. I just assumed that she was saying that Mazrim Taim could do something like what Gwyer Amalasan did.
It is the name of either a person or like a place or event. But
Jeff
I don't
and
know.
Albino both say that they were mentioned in book 1.
Okay, well, that was so far away. That was so long ago.
During an early Ishi dream in book 1. Oh, so he must have been one of the false dragons that Ishamael throws in Rand's face in one of the dreams. Interesting. Okay. I wonder what he did that he's that she doesn't say Logain, that she says Gwyer Amalasan.
He must have been bad.
Yeah, bad news.
He must have been a bad boy.
And Swan makes the choice to say that he will be gentled before reaching the tower. Gentled on sight.
Yeah.
Which
Leanne is like, but mother! And she's like, well...
They did it on the TV show, so we can do it in the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, of course, she also gets a letter from her pillow friend, Moiraine. This one, I'm going to read this one. The sling has been used. The shepherd holds the sword. What is the sling? I understand that the shepherd holds the sword. That made sense to me. I didn't get what, like, the sling, like, someone's arm was, like, whose arm is in a sling?
No, like
a slingshot?
Yeah, because events are happening now. Like, things are moving, is what I took it to be.
Oh, I was like, whose arm is in a sling?
Who broke their arm? No, like, yeah.
I'm so dumb.
No,
I read it. I read, like, the sling has been used, and I was like, who's hurt?
Who did you heal? No, yeah, it's the launching of events forward.
Okay.
Because you throw, like, stones.
It's funny because that feels so poetic, as if they're trying to speak in code. But then the next thing is the shepherd has the sword, which isn't code. Like, that's just so, like, blatant.
I mean, yeah. I guess if you know Ren... Yeah, it's not the most cryptic. Yeah.
But if you're on the Dark One side, you know what that means. Like, all of the Black Aja and all of the Forsaken know who the shepherd is at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a regular person doesn't. They're just confused as to whatever is. But, The stone is cast? Oh, the stone is cast, the sling is used. I see it. I'm done.
No.
I definitely was like, the sling is used. What? Like, because I just assumed, like, someone broke an arm. And I was like, that's such a weird thing for Moiraine to say.
It's a weird thing to include, but all right.
Sometimes I'm stupid.
Very smart.
Yeah, Siwan kind of ends the chapter by saying, or this section of the chapter, Min's point of view here, by saying, I can now openly act towards Rand. Now that he has proclaimed the Dragon Reborn, I can now be like, the White Tower can work with him.
Yeah.
Can they? Do you think that there's a real way, an avenue where the White Tower can, like, universally get on board with working with a male channel?
Universally? No. Like, this, like, the White Tower is about to fall apart. Because the Red Aja won't care if he's the Dragon Reborn. He is a man who can channel, and they will go and they will kill him. They don't care. Even though, despite the prophecies, despite everything else. And we've already seen Elayne, and obviously Leandrin was, like, sowing the seeds of doubt and mistrust and fear. And, things are about to get really spicy for Siwan and the White Tower, because it's...
Yeah. How much longer do you think Siwan will be the Emerald seat?
I think, like, one more book.
I could see that. I have a feeling that backing the Dragon Reborn is going to... get her either killed or get her, like, excommunicated from the tower. Yeah. There's too many people with too many different opinions, and, like, I just don't think that Siwan, like, it's interesting. I would have expected, and I think that you would, like, a leadership or authority would have the respect that, like, the people would follow you if you were like, that's the dragon and we need to help him. But Siwan doesn't. Like, the White Tower is so fundamentally just busted. And so, it's about to be rough for everybody.
I think it's going to be really bad for Siwan. I think
having Min there, and you know, Min did see a lot of, like, horrible things happening on the same day. There was a Sunshine collar involved in that, so maybe it's not that, but it seems like, to me, it could be the people protecting Siwan or people fighting to try and oust her.
Yeah, 100%.
Like it literally, like, a fight breaks out in the tower, and maybe Min is the one who, like, either gets Siwan to safety or has to, like, flee. Maybe Gowan.
I also I think that there is an element of the we've talked so much about the flawed politics of the White Tower, and I think that most people in chat have agreed with us. The politics of the White Tower have been a little bit, like, not well thought out.
Flawed.
Yeah, and so I think that we've been set up. I think the books have been setting up that there is going to be a collapse of the White Tower. I wouldn't be surprised if Tarvalon falls to the White Cloaks, and I think that I think that the White Cloaks will. This is what I'm worried about Galad. I think that Galad is going to be the person that gets the White Cloaks into the White Tower. I think Tarvalon is going to fall to the White Cloaks. because of Ordeith and like what he knows and his power. And I think that the Aes Sedai are going to be scattered to the wilds. Like, I think that the Aes Sedai will still be a structure and they will still work together. But I think we're going to see Rand having... I think, like, part of the plot later on is Rand is going to have to, like, reform the Aes Sedai with the help of Egwene and Nynaeve and Elayne.
Yeah.
And maybe Moiraine, depending on where her story goes. But I just feel like the White Tower is being set up to crumble.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this book is called The Shadow Rising, and so I'm just kind of trying to figure out, like, something really bad is going to happen at the end of this book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Something really bad, and I feel like the White Tower falling might be the thing that happens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It seems a little early, maybe, but, like, I don't know. In a 14-book series, it would be the right time in, like, a 6-book series.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I see the White Tower falling at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe not physically, but, like, the Aes Sedai will not be in control of it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I don't think... the White Tower is a structure that probably couldn't be brought down except by channeling, so I don't think the actual physical...
Well, yeah, those Ogiers do some good Ogiering.
But it's about to get bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think Soan is ready for it, or, like, even expecting it. Like, I think she thinks that Rand proclaiming himself is just going to, like, solve the problems and that people will listen to her no matter what. But they won't. Yeah, so that's fun.
Yeah, and so we get to the next chapter. Or no, sorry, there's one last thing in this chapter. Sarah, the girl who walked Min to the Emerald Sea, is being punished for it, which is a shame. And then she gets tortured to death by Lanfear. Or by Liandrin.
Liandrin, yeah. Yeah, it doesn't say, but...
But it was the same, like, you know that, like, whip thing that they described that Liandrin was, like, really good at? That only Liandrin was good at?
Yeah.
Like, the way that Robert Jordan wrote Sarah Experience, and it sounded like that same thing that we've experienced Liandrin doing in previous chapters.
Yeah, because it shows it to, like, Rand in, like, the dungeon, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so,
Liandrin. God damn it.
Yeah. So poor Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
This is the Amerlin seat. She's you know, she's moving, but she doesn't know all the places to move things to. And so she moved a pawn, and she sacrificed the pawn to save Min at the White Tower. And whether that works out for her, I don't know. We'll find out later.
Yeah.
Next chapter is Into the Ways. We're going back, kids. I really thought that after Machin Shin was at the doors to the Ways that one time, I was like, okay, we're done with the Ways forever.
Yeah,
Nope.
The Ways are fine. Machin Shin is on his coffee break, so we're good.
So Perrin and Faile and Loyal sneak out with Gaul. I don't know how to... Yeah, Gaul. And Aiel, who's going to join them on their journey to the Two Rivers.
Yeah, he's like, everybody else really wants to go home, but, you know, I'm down for some fun.
Yeah, they're like, it's been too long.
So casual, like...
Look, if I lived in a desert and I was around, they're like, there's too much water. I'm like, what do you mean there's too much water? There's so much water, enjoy it. They're, like, scared of the water, which I get, actually. Like, rivers would be scary, but...
Yes.
So, Perrin, they leave, and they just fight a lot. Perrin and Faile need to just, like...
They need to chill out.
They just
Like,
need to,
Faile is like, I will let you follow me like a puppy. And Bane and Chiad are like... like, they're like freaking gremlins behind, like, Faile's shoulders.
Right, Bane and Chad also come. Right.
Yeah.
Bane and Chad, I love that the Aiel enjoy the failed relationships of the other characters.
Well, because they probably think Faile should just, like, kill him and be done with it. You know what I mean?
No, they probably think that they're like, Faile, just hold a spear to his throat.
Yeah,
take him to his bed.
Play Maiden's Kiss, and you're good.
People are saying Gaul in the chat. Okay, so we'll go with Gaul. Yeah. And so I love Chiad and Bane in this. I think that they're very funny. And I also like, we get this setup that there are Aiel clans, and that Bane and Chiad are, like, part of a clan that is, like, not a fan of Gaul's clan.
Yeah, they don't like one another.
And so not only is there this, like, frostiness between Faile and Perrin, but there's also this frostiness within the Aes Sedai. Yeah. But, like, they're all working together, but, like, it could go bad at any moment. Yeah. Like, what's fun about this is we don't get to see them much. They go into the Ways, and this is the end of where we see them for the week. And so I'm excited to see, like, 3 days into the Ways, and they're just, like, throwing crap. It's like an episode of Real Housewives. Everyone's just upset.
I thought it was so...
Poor Loyal is like, why is everyone so angry?
I feel so bad for Loyal. But, like, it was so... It was hilarious, the moment where Perrin is like, Gaul, like, if anything happens to me, like, get Faile, save her, right? Get her to safety. And he's like, I'll try. He's like, okay. And then he's like, oh, I see why you said that, because Bane and Chiad are not gonna, they're not gonna let you. Oh, okay. All right. I see where we're at. Like,
I was kind of hoping that Chiad and Bane were gonna go with Matt. Because I liked the idea of, like, I've been enjoying Matt being very confused by the... No, I don't want them to, like, get together. I don't necessarily need that. But I like Matt just being like, I don't understand what's going on. And I'm going to miss that. I really liked the Aiel messing with Matt. It was fun.
It was very fun.
Oh, yeah.
He's...
Aiel just loved their soap operas. This is their stories.
Yeah.
They're like grannies, like, I'm going to watch my stories.
Yep, so we're back in the ways.
Real-time Survivor in the ways. That is such a funny idea.
Could you imagine?
Oh, man.
Careful, Mash and Shin might just come in and eat your soul.
We could do it as a YouTube video because we wouldn't need a set because it's just black. You can't see anything. And so it's just like up close, like camera shots, like very poorly lit in our basement. And make it look like it's the ways by making it dark.
Oh my god. No, we'll film it all on like our little green screen wall. And it'll just be like very dark bridges that we're walking over.
Yeah.
Oh god, I hate it.
I also I love that we keep up this, like, the Aiel do not ride horses, but they can run.
They can run. How?
So much that Faile is like, they're never gonna catch up to us, and Perrin turns around and he's like,
no, they will. I think that's them.
No, they're
and
good.
Faile's like, yeah, right.
Faile's like, he really likes to think he has great eyesight. It's like, it's because he does.
Because he does.
He can smell every emotion you feel. He has weird powers.
Yeah, he has superpowers.
So they get to the Waygate, and everyone's amazed by it, of course, because it's really cool. When Loyal pulls the leaf off and the gate opens. And before this, there is a tremor. There's a big tremor, and Perrin's like, oh, Rand must have figured out that we left, and he's upset about it.
Yeah. It's definitely because of you.
Yeah. And then Perrin is like, I'm gonna go. And so he rides ahead, and Gaul goes in with him, and he's like, Gaul, we're gonna go wait at the Waystone so that they think that we left them behind for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Because Perrin and Faile have
problems. They have problems.
Perrin and Faile are the couple you don't want to go to a bar with.
No.
You know what I mean? Like,
it could be a really fun, awesome night, but there's also a 50% chance that it's a nightmare. No, would not happen.
I would go to a rave with them if everybody's on drugs that mellows people out.
And it was like a group of people, so it wasn't just them. Like, there were other people there as well. You know, if like Bane and Chiad were there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, so they go into the ways. Match and Shin is not there, and Perrin just, like, walks right through and goes off without Faile. He's like, you know what? I can follow this path to the first marker stone or whatever. So, bye.
Fudgy Vamp says, in the long term, horses move about the same as humans in a day. They just give you room to carry more, unless you're pony expressing it. Not sure how that compares to a human relay. That's not true. Horses, if you're talking distance that the two can cover in a day, horses vastly outperform humans.
Well, because a horse you can run until they literally die, right? Like,
I'm not even talking about that. I'm saying that, like, horses can run at like 4 times the speed of a human.
But that's what I mean. Like, if the horse is walking, okay, fine, right? It's
you can run a human until they die too. Like, that doesn't make them.
No,
that's not a factor in how far they go.
No, but I'm talking about like that horses running are much faster, and so if you run a horse all day, then you're gonna cover way more distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing. I guess the Aiel are all really tall, so they have like long legs.
Well, they must just be incredible sprinters.
You know
They're
what?
fast over short distances.
We're dwarves and natural sprinters.
Actually, there is a marathon run with horses and humans every year. Humans win about 50% of the time.
What? What? How? No. Like, what?
How?
A horse can run, like... I'm going to look
A
up
horse can sustain a speed faster than a human. Absolutely.
horse running speed. 88 kilometers an hour. Can you run 88 kilometers an hour? Because I can't.
If a horse can run 3 times faster than Usain Bolt.
Yeah, I don't. I don't see how that's possible.
I've spent a not insignificant amount of my childhood on horseback, and horses can go for a very long time. Like, I would not want to race a horse at any distance personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It just does not seem.
Humans are amazing endurance runners if they train as endurance runners. None of the people, like, the
Aiel have.
The Aiel, yeah, and which is why they're able to keep up. I'm not saying that, but Rand is not going to be able to outrun a horse.
I would love for Rand's, like, training to be an Aiel chief to just be him racing horses.
KP says, the real question here, can fireworks blow a horse-sized hole in a wall?
That is the real question. That is the real question.
This is what we're here to answer, y'all. I don't care about the Wheel of Time. I'm here to answer the mundane questions that the Wheel of Time brings up.
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like, if you and I both, like, marathon trained, you might be... You're 6'4".
You would.
Like, what?
I have asthma. I can't. I will never be able to outperform you in a marathon.
Fair. But minus the asthma, just height-wise, like, as the size of a human, like, you would be, like, Aiel-sized.
Yeah, no, I would.
And I am, like, Moiraine-sized.
If you look at marathon runners, they're not very large.
Really?
Yeah, marathon runners are all very thin, and they don't have a lot of weight on them.
No, but I feel like your stride is what's, like, the most important.
Right, but stride isn't that important over long distances. It's endurance. And so because of my size, I would literally, the impact of my step is heavier because I'm so large that it is actually harder for someone who is 6'4" to run long distances. Franklin Cheatham says, confirm Nerdy would die in the waist. No, I would die running in the waist. But I was a Boy Scout.
You do not deal with heat well.
I was a Boy Scout.
I would be great. I would be burnt to a crisp.
I was a Boy Scout, and a Boy Scout can survive anything.
Oh my god.
Chapter 19, The Wave Dancer. So we meet up with Elayne and Nynaeve, and Moiraine has given them more money than God.
More money than God. Yeah, just, 6,000 crowns?
Yeah, something like that.
Like,
Paper,
yeah. Here, take this to a bank. And here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to withdraw it all at the same time? And then does the note get torn up? How does this banking system work? Do they have to, like, mark off a tally? Do they sign it? I am so confused. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I read this, 6 times, and it wasn't explained. Do you have to withdraw the entire amount, or, do you, rip off a piece?
Well, and that's the problem I have with it, is that they're like, we're going to give you this piece of paper, and she's like, that's too much. And I'm like, well, that's the only option, because there's no, percentages.
I can't give you 70% of the piece of paper, because...
You have to take the whole check. I can't, rip a check in half, and then it's half of the check.
Yeah.
It's just not a check. It's a void check. It's an all-or-nothing situation, and the way they're talking about it in this scene... I was also just like, wait, this world has a banking system?
Yeah.
This world has banks? What?
What?
How?
And here's the thing, you can't take that to the Two Rivers. Two Rivers doesn't have a bank.
Yeah, and so, there must be certain
that's a small
cities
town
where you can have this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just...
Light-Blinded Fool says, think traveler's checks. Okay, but...
From the ancient times.
Yeah. Traveler's checks is probably the best way to think about it.
But it's one piece of paper.
It's just very funny.
Yeah, it was just interesting. Anyways, let's go back to the beginning of this chapter.
Yeah.
Because we meet some cool people.
Yeah. Elayne and Nynaeve arrive at the docks.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we need a boat. We were told to get this one because it's the fastest one.
This one, the Raker, is the fastest ship.
We find out later that Moiraine sends them on this ship in particular because she's hoping that they will learn information that they do learn. Moiraine is playing 6-dimensional chess at this point.
6-dimensional chess, yeah.
And we meet just all of the hottest people, shirtless and working on a boat. Everybody's jacked. Yeah. This is the CW version of the Wheel of Time.
Everyone's barefoot, so if that's your thing, this is the place for you.
If you spend any time on WikiFeet, the sea folk are for you.
Maybe that's it, because I think it's Elayne is like, oh, I can see, you know, the way that the women move. I can see why they're like the mysterious, like beautiful woman in a series. But maybe it's just there's a lot of feet guys in Randland, and that's like their thing. That's why there's so many like stories about.
Sure.
You never know. I'm just saying. But no one wants to admit that they're a feet guy in Randland, so I'm just saying.
Ash and Dry. Chad is Goshen Aiel. Bane and Gaul are Sharad Aiel, who have a blood feud with the Goshen Aiel, but feuds are prohibited now at this point in the book.
Well, and because they are
so
first
Bane
sisters,
is on Gaul's side. Interesting.
But I think that because we're first sisters, that like changes that, right?
For Bane and Chad, but I don't think it does for Chad and Gaul.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Moiraine is the chessboard. Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously. So yeah, we meet the sea folk, and we meet the two captains of the ship. Or it feels like there's two captains of the ship.
It seems to at first, yeah. They're standing at the front. They're in like these rich colored silks.
Mm-hmm. And one of them is they had terms, but I don't think I took
the
notes on the terms.
wind finder and the sail mistress.
Sail mistress. I need a sail mistress in my life. And so yeah, they're wearing these like loose blousey things, and the sail mistress is like, we can talk. Let's come down to my office. Mm-hmm. And I really liked. So we worked on a cruise ship. That's how we fell in love. We were working on a cruise ship, and I liked the everything is like tied down. Everything is like built in, because when you work on a cruise ship, like your bed is like built into the wall, and your cabinets are all built. Well, cabinets are kind of always built into walls, but like everything is just kind of built in a way that it doesn't move when the ship rocks.
Yeah.
And I love the way that Robert Jordan wrote those little details about the way that the furniture is like built into the ship was really cool, and I enjoyed that a lot. The desks that like the chairs don't move, but the like things open.
The
and
arms
close.
open. That was a nice touch.
I've lived that. I've experienced that.
So Bane and Chad tell the Power Girls they want Winston and others hold despite the feud in order to become first sisters. Okay, yes.
Right.
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. I hope that we learn more about that. I like them a lot.
We're with the Aiel, and so I think we might learn more about like Bane and Chad through being with the Aiel, like from the other like group. It'll be interesting to see. I love the Aiel. They're so cool.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
So so the girls are like, we have money, and the sea finders are like, we don't take payment.
It is a gift
give
for
passage
a gift.
as a gift for a gift, and they're like, all right, well, our gift is money.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, you're just like, you can call it whatever you want. You're paying for it if your gift is money. Come up with a cooler gift.
I like that the sea folk have a way of speaking with one another that actually feels different in the same way that like Bael Doman has, like, and less so like a dialect, but in terms of like they seem very like religious or superstitious in the way that they are consistently referencing the light.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a really nice touch, because it literally felt like we were somewhere else in the world, which was cool.
Yeah, and I liked the girl comes in and she's topless. Who brings them their food.
Oh, there's a name. The guy. Did I write it down?
I didn't write it down. But I like them. Obviously, like, Nynaeve is beyond scandalized, and Elayne is scandalized as well. And they're like, the land folk don't understand our ways. Go put a shirt on for like the next 5 minutes.
Well, and they were like, if you're offended, we can punish her. And Elaine's like, no, it's okay. You have different customs.
But I feel like if Nynaeve she's like, Elayne spoke quickly, because Nynaeve would have been like, yes, spank the child.
Spank the child is Nynaeve's mantra.
There's a part of me that's like, is Nynaeve gonna end up being the next Shariam? In like at the end of this book, does Nynaeve take over Shariam's job in the White Tower?
I could see that, but I think she's a little too emotional. Like, I think it would be like bad news for anyone who wanted to become Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, no, I like them setting up that the sea folk have, because we've seen so many sea folk, or we've seen so many cultures within.
New T-shirt, spank the child.
No. I like that we have so many repressed sexual cultures within the Wheel of Time. It's nice to see a culture that there are lots of cultures on Earth that don't feel that same sort of physical repression around women's chests.
Yeah.
And so it's nice that is also consistent in the Wheel of Time, that we have like different cultures that treat nudity and treat like cultural appropriateness in terms of clothing differently.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those things. It makes the world feel larger.
Yeah.
That the cultures feel so unique and so different from one another.
Yeah, it is funny though that they do wait to leave port before, like they don't want to like offend anybody. They are mindful of like the land people, but yeah, when they're at sea, like that's their thing. And
it's not even just port. They wait until they're out of the rivers. They wait till they're in the open ocean.
Teeth, or is that what they're called?
The fingers of the dragon.
Fingers, teeth,
and
fingers.
So I love this idea that like they have their own culture, but they acknowledge that they're trading with people who don't have the same culture of them, and they're respectful of that. And I think that like this is one of those moments where you're like, oh, these cultures can coexist by respecting one another.
Yeah.
Elayne and Nynaeve come to the boat with respect. They treat, Nynaeve almost pops off a few times, but doesn't. She actually manages to rein in her, like, of it all. And, we have these two cultures meeting each other with respect, and everything works out for them because respect is shown equally between the two.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one of those moments where, like, I really love Elayne. I was just complaining about the letters she wrote Rand, but Elayne is the voice of reason, and she's going like, my mom taught me respect. This is why I want to spend more time with Morgase. I think Morgase is probably rad. Because she's like, my mom taught me, like, if you're in someone else's house, you respect their culture. And Elayne shows that. Yeah. And in doing so, Elayne actually, like, gets really close to the Windfinder and ends up,
Joran?
and they end up sharing things, right? Back and forth. And
Joran, yeah.
it is the story of how respecting other people's cultures actually, like, makes the world a better place, in my opinion. And I love that Robert Jordan wrote that here, and I'm really a fan.
Yeah, well, Robert Jordan did not spend all of his life in North America.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I think that is a really important takeaway from especially this section, because we get a really lovely relationship with, Elayne and Joran at the end of this section. But before that, we find out that the Sea Folk have their own prophecies of, not the dragon,
that
but
are the same prophecies.
They're the same prophecies, basically, but it's for the
Everyone
Cormor.
is like, the dragon is going, or the dragon, the Cormor, or the man who comes before the dawn, they're going to take the Stone of Tyr and they're going to grab the sword. And everyone's like, no, it's a different prophecy. And I'm like, no, it's the same you all have the same prophecy.
It's all the same thing. We know, but obviously, like, they have their own, like, sacred interpretation of it, and, like, that's fine. Against their better judgment, I guess, because they're like, we almost never take Aes Sedai. We do not refuse passage to anyone except Aes Sedai, which is very interesting. It's not a great business model, so hopefully the Sea Folk are doing well. But they never refuse passage.
I don't know. I think not working with the Aes Sedai is probably, in the long term, you might lose some money in the short term, look good in the long term.
I mean, them accepting everyone as a passenger, I feel like,
we meet how they make money. Because the sailmistress's husband is like,
is the cargo master.
Like, they're like, we're going to Tenchiko, and he's like, I don't have the right cargo for Tenchiko.
He's like, hey,
this whole sequence was so this has been so funny.
It's so good because he's like, hey wife, you won't believe what this dude is gonna trade me for this thing, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
oh, this is a shirts on moment. I am in the wrong place. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. That was very fun. And
but just him being like, but I don't have my cargo. And she's like, deal with it. And he's like, okay, I'll deal with it. And then they literally offer to pay. And then the woman is like, don't tell my husband, but I'm gonna pay for this one. And I'm like, why not just take their money?
The Aes Sedai, like
I get the Cormor and whatnot, but like.
I think it's like a sense of duty.
I'm a fan. Here's the thing. We sometimes work with people, and they're like, we're friends. You don't need to pay us, but pay for materials. And I'm fully on board with like, oh no, let me pay for materials. Let me pay for the passage at the very least. Don't let anything come out of your wallet because you're already giving me your time and you're already giving me your effort. If I was Elayne, I would push a little harder. I'd be like, look, we won't pay you. That's fine. We appreciate the gift, but let us at least pay the like toll to get out of the fingers of it. Like, let us pay that thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? At the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's so. I loved the moment where they sail out and they have to have this like official on board to guide them through the fingers, but obviously they're not listening to him. they don't give a shit. They know exactly what they're doing, and he's like, whatever. He takes his money and goes. That was such an interesting thing because from like this is so weird from a legal standpoint. I'm like, that absolutely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have all the boats who are coming in and out just like getting lost in the fingers and crashing.
Well,
you know?
especially if it's a swamp, right? Like it would be so dangerous, and you would just never find your way out. And I love
is
that
that part of swamp?
Well, that's what they're saying, right? Like Elayne is like, oh, you never know which of these lead to dead ends. So what they're saying is you need someone from Tyr who knows the route to get out.
Yeah.
On these like small little inlet rivers.
Mm-hmm.
But the sea folk are like, no, we got this. Like we know the route.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the route. We got the route.
We're fine.
Just sit on the deck, like have a cup of tea, and enjoy the 30 minutes downriver. My question is, how does he get back? I'm assuming he like.
So there's like a little, they must have some kind of path or passage where because there's...
He must, but yes, like, is there, I guess like other boats are going to come in, so I guess when another boat comes in, he like gets on that boat back up
like
to
he
Tyr.
probably like waits at the outpost.
Yeah.
That outpost is specifically made for those people who wait for the next boat to then come
It
back.
reminds me of like how pilots will sit in the jump seat on planes to go from an airport to another airport so that they can fly the plane from that airport to a different airport.
Yeah.
And then they're headed to Tenchico. We didn't bring up oh my god, we totally skipped over Thom and Juilin show up on the dock.
Oh.
And Thom and Juilin are like, we're coming, and Nynaeve is like,
Coin is like, I will refuse them if you don't want them here. And
she's like, I technically can't, but I will for
But I
you
will
because
for you.
the Coramor.
Yeah.
How many names does Rand have by the end of this series, do you think?
At least 7.
Is there a Wikipedia that's just things people call Rand Thor?
Because we have at least 4 right now.
We have more than 4.
Do we?
Well, yeah, people still call him Luthor and Telamon.
Oh.
We have the Dragon Reborn,
Yeah.
the Man Who Comes Before the Dawn, the Coramor, the Shepherd, the Trollocs have a name for him, like...
Oh, I guess so.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of names for Rand.
Oh, isn't like the Hero of Light one of them?
The Hero of Light?
Yeah, isn't that what Luthor and Telamon was called before he was the dragon?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
But yeah, one thing in the Juilin interaction that I really enjoyed was that I think that it's dumb to bring Juilin. And Nynaeve acknowledges that it's dumb to bring Juilin because Nynaeve is like, they know his face. And I was like, yes, don't bring Juilin. It's dumb.
Nynaeve's like, we can put a mustache on him.
Dakuna says, yes, that Wikipedia exists, don't go to it. But she's like, yeah, we'll put a mustache on Juilin. I'm like, no, Leandra knows what Juilin looks like. Take everybody else, but like, Juilin has already given you up to Leandrin once. They know what he looks like. Mm-hmm. I just feel like Juilin is more of a hindrance than a help in this situation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, yeah. There's so many.
I mean, Shadow Killer is the big one that we missed, and Woolheaded Herder is the other one. So
Lord of the Morning. I am not the Lord of the Morning. I'm the Lord of about like midnight to 1 a.m. That's when I'm productive.
Yeah. Give me that like like dinner time slot.
I'm the Lord of Witching Hour.
Oh my god.
And so Nynaeve was like, Thom, you're gonna do exactly what I say, and Tom's like, can't promise that, and Nynaeve's like, you're gonna do exactly what I say. Tom's like, fine. And then Elayne grabs him by the mustache.
I want this scene in the show so bad because it's so weird.
What is happening? Elayne is like, I've done this before.
What is that supposed to be? I can't even like picture it in my head in a way that's like reasonable. Like it's so it is.
I imagine Elayne calling him daddy.
Oh, but it's so weird. And then later on, she's like, "I want to tug his mustache again. Why? Like
I'm not going to. I'm going to resist the urge to tug his mustache."
Like what the like? If I was Thom, I'd be like, "Yo, this is weird."
No, because Thom is like, oh my god, she used to do this. Does she know? Does she know?
Does she know?
She knows. She knows. And I know she knows. I know she knows.
It was just such a weird moment. I hated it. Oh, man.
No mustaches in the show. Rip. That's true. There's no mustache. What's she gonna do? Maybe she just give him a little tug on the dick.
No. It's not. Absolutely not. Nope. I hate it. Thanks.
It's weird to me that because it implies that like Morghese has like never mentioned Thom around Elayne.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's weird to me that, like, Thom is this, like person who's not allowed in the town. Like, he's this, like, persona non grata, and Elayne's never heard of him before as, like, an adult. You would think that, like, it would have come up at some point.
There's probably like a room with like wanted posters on a board, and I feel like Thom Merrilin would be there.
JDI says just a little nipple pinch, just a little tweak.
No, I hate it. It was weird, and yeah, we're moving on.
Oh my god, we need to move faster.
I know.
This is gonna be a mess.
Uh-huh.
Because we have to go to Banff today.
Yeah.
So Elayne and Nynaeve, the last chapter ends with like they get on the ship, they're headed towards Tenchico, and then there's that big tremor that Perrin felt. And
Elayne also thinks it's about her. Literally everyone. It is a novel with like protagonist syndrome.
Yeah.
Because Elayne is like, oh yeah, I guess he found my letter, and Perrin's like, oh no, he did that because he's obviously mad that we're leaving, and we find out later that that's literally not the case.
Neither of those things. Neither of things.
No.
And so they push off, and they're riding down river. They drop off the guy. Lane is like really trying to figure out who Thom is. She's like, there's something familiar about him.
Yeah.
From my youth.
They have a nice chat.
They have a good chat.
Yeah. The mustache thing, again, very weird. But Elayne, like, feels like this, like, pull towards Joran, the Windfinder. And we realize that she can channel.
Yeah.
And Elayne is like, you are doing things that, like, I would like to learn.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so cool.
And we find out that, like, they're, like, the Seafinders have been trying to hide that they have girls who channel. And so they send a couple to the White Tower every now and then so that they don't come looking for more.
Yeah.
And I loved this. It's like, there's a book in Star Wars called From a Certain Point of View, in which Luke Skywalker, it tells stories about Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And some of them are him, like, going to meet these cultures that have the Force, but use it in a different way than the Jedi do. I love this kind of stuff. I love when you meet a power in a magic system, and then you, like, go somewhere else, and they have the same access, but they use it in a different way.
Yeah.
And I just think that's really cool, and I hope we get some more chapters. I know we're going to get to Tenchico and, like, that'll be the end of this, but I'm hoping that, like, before we actually, because I don't think we've seen them get off the boat yet, so I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit more of Elayne and Joran's relationship before we do that, because I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
We also learned that there's a town called Shora on the other side of the waste, and that's where the trading happens. Thom is like, wait, what? I've never heard of this place, but the Seafinder's like, yeah, there's like a city there. It's like, it's cool.
Yeah, it's chill.
Do you think that the other side of the waste where people trade with, do you think that is the Sanchin Kingdom? Do you think that it is one big continent and they just don't realize, and that they're sailing across the ocean in between the two, but it's actually like Pangea?
No,
so they've been trading silks and stuff from the Sanchin this whole time, but they just didn't realize that it was just like they were just going the wrong.
No, because you could
distance.
follow the shoreline, but that is very funny.
I don't know. I think it might be. I think it might just be too hazardous to go through the waste, and so both cultures, the Sanchin, instead of going this way, they're going around this way and running into each other the other way.
All right. No, I don't think
kind
so,
of like
but
the
it's
idea
fun.
that in the breaking of the world, the world has like reformed as Pangea. Like there's like one continent again.
Because the breaking.
Yeah.
Right. Interesting.
And so Elayne promises that she's going to do her best to keep the Seafinder secret, and they sail for Tenchico.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else in this chapter that you want to talk about before we move on?
No, I don't think so. I just there was a lot in there that like I really liked, especially with the Windfinder and the different different like cultures and
the sea folk are pulling a Columbus looking for India. Yeah.
And everyone just gets topless. And
so everyone gets topless. Will this be in the show? I hope so. I would like for the show to have like casual, non-sexual nudity in it.
I think
I like the way that some things have been handling that lately to like broaden.
Nudity doesn't always have to be sexual, and I think that having that in more like mainstream media is.
Well, they did it in
beneficial.
the Moiraine and Megan scene in the hot spring in Tarvalon. There were women topless, just casually in the background of that scene.
Yeah.
And so I think that I don't know. I feel like they would do it. They've done that kind of nudity in the show in the first season.
Yeah.
So I could see this being one of the things that like there's a very proud like way that they shoot it, and like they handle it well.
Yeah. Keeping like different cultures and stuff is like, I mean, we've been reading through them all in these books, and I love the diversity in it. It's really amazing.
Yeah. So Into the Heart, chapter 21. Y'all, we're done with everyone except this storyline. There's one storyline, and we have 1 hour. Can we get through everything in 1 hour?
Let's go.
All right, let's go. The Tyrant Nobles are all called to the Heart of the Stone. Moiraine and Egwene show up. They walk through. They part the Red Sea of Nobles. Everyone's freaking out. There's this woman that we've never met before that's very important all of a sudden.
Apparently a big like player of the game.
Altaim. And so Matt shows up as well. And so everyone's kind of like waiting around for Rand. And Moiraine and Egwene are like chatting. And Moiraine is like, ooh, Egwene's growing up. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But also, she isn't fully grown up yet, so I can still manipulate her a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's good.
Yeah, they're like this weird in between. Oh God, I was like, Moiraine, I get it, but like you need to calm down.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you know, it is interesting that she like sees that Egwene can pick up on things even though she doesn't understand what she's picking up on.
Mm-hmm.
Which I found very fascinating. And we get Moraine's point of view of, you know, what Thom was doing.
Moraine's point of view. Let's get more of it. I love this.
We love a Moiraine POV. And, like, her, like, talking about what Thom was doing with the nobles, but, like, where he missed and slipped up. And then when Rand comes in, like, what Rand is doing to manipulate. Like, God, it's so cool.
And so Rand finally makes his appearance.
With all the veiled Aiel.
Yeah.
So
veiled. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. You crazy boy.
Yeah.
And he gets to the front and he's like, all right, we're going to war. And they're like, oh, cool. Elayne. And he's like, with Kyrian. And they're like, Kyrian.
They're like, I'm sorry, what?
And he basically, like, Rand has been listening to Elayne. And he's like, hey, you don't like me, you're gonna go fight a war for me, have fun.
Yeah, he sends away, like, the 7 or 8, like, people who are, like, plotting against him and giving him problems.
And then he's like, Altaima, hey, you are gonna go feed everyone with all the extra grain that we've got.
We need a woman's touch.
And I know your husband's sick, but you know that woman that hates you? She's gonna take care of your husband for the next few months.
Yeah.
I am Chaos Incarnate. I am going to make all of your lives miserable.
Rand is the Lord
Peace
of Chaos.
out.
Yeah. Rand is also the Lord of Chaos. That is his other name.
I think the Lord of Chaos is someone else, but
no, I know that.
I think is that the next book or 2 books from now?
I don't know.
I don't know. I love Rand is like he comes in and drops bangers, and Moiraine is like.
Rand is like, oh, okay, all right.
This Rand boy.
This shepherd, he's doing okay.
What? Who did they replace Rand with?
Yeah.
What's
Rand
going on?
Thank you for this. Rand, yes.
Rand, what a good boy. Thank you for the
super chat. I loved it. That was a really incredible scene.
Oh, awesome. So cool.
Like
he has like evolved. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I leveled up to 30, but he like leveled up to 30 and evolved. You know what I mean? And it makes him like such a cool protagonist.
He's a Charmeleon now.
Well, and what's cool about him isn't that he's awesome in this scene. What's cool about him as a protagonist is that he had a character a friend, a lover maybe, who gave him information, and rather than be like, I'm the Dragon Reborn, I know how to do everything, he listened. He listened, he learned, he grew, and he engaged with it.
Yeah.
And he became better because he paid attention to this woman who loves him. And I'm telling you, as a married man, listen, this is the most important thing I will ever say on this podcast. As a married man, if you find a woman who loves you, that you believe, that you marry because you believe she's wildly intelligent, and you listen to her, you become a better person over time. That's a fact. It's a fact. You become a better person over time if you listen to the person who loves you.
We're going to have a dating advice podcast.
And so Rand is doing a good job here. And I was here for it. Yeah. I also love that he was like, I'm going to Ruiadin, and everyone's like, oh, okay, that's crazy. And he's like, if you're going to forget about me, look at this. And he stabs the sword in the stone.
He doesn't.
And he Excaliburs the shit out of it.
He does. He does do the full Excalibur, which is very fun. He doesn't tell people where he's going. publicly.
No. He finally tells Moiraine.
Yeah. But he's like, I'm going away.
I'm going away for a while.
You are going to go help the people of Cairhien and give them food and stop the chaos.
Yeah. You're right.
Which was chef's kiss. It was so good, and the nobles all being like, oh no, I don't know how to feel.
Yeah, because they're like, God damn it.
What is happening? And
I have a feeling that the Tyr is a complete mess by the time he gets back.
Yes.
I think they forget all of this, and he has to come back and give a couple of spankings to remind them to be good little boys and girls.
Rand is gonna come back with a switch, and he's gonna dole out some punishment. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he literally shoves the sword in the stone and is like, I'd like to see somebody try to take it. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I hope somebody does. And that's what he says, I think, because Moiraine is like, one of the Forsworn could grab that and use it, and then it's game over, bud. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I'd like to see them try.
I hope we get to see them try.
Me too.
I want to know what it is.
Me too.
Ashandarai, thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
Rand is so proficient here largely due to Thom, and only now is Moiraine starting to see the real and complete fruits of Thom's labor with Rand. I think it's Thom, but I also think it's Elayne. I don't think you can cut Elayne out of that. Yeah. It's the two of them.
Thom definitely, for sure, got to get the credit there.
James Smith says, did this help understand a bit more about Deus Damar, the Game of Houses? I think that this was a better version of what Robert Jordan, I think, fumbled with a little bit conceptually
in Book 2.
In Book 2.
Yeah,
I think that Book 2's version of Game of Houses was a little bit amateurish.
Yeah.
And it was easy to see through. This is a better version of it. This is the kind of Game of Houses that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
This was like some Tywin Lannister level manipulation here.
Yeah.
And I'm here for it. Yeah. If the Game of Houses keeps being this cool and interesting, I'm so excited. And I'm hopeful that I want Robert Jordan to also introduce some characters on the opposite side of Rand and Moiraine who are playing just as well as they are, and that Rand and Moiraine just aren't outplaying everyone all the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is kind of where we're at right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is going to be an exciting scene in the show for sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's this scene they better do it justice, and with all the Aiel, it's it's great. I hope one of the Forsworn tries to take the sword and just is annihilated. That would make me so happy. I don't know if that's gonna quite happen, but I think someone might try and touch it and get roasted. But yeah, so they go out of the hall, kind of leave some chaos, and Moiraine and Egwene, they're like, hey, so what's the plan? You're just gonna go
We're going to read
somewhere?
Come on. Let's go. Everybody, let's go.
Well, and Egwene is like, before Rand says anything, Egwene is like, I'm going to the Aiel Waste, and he's like, fuck. He's like, that's where I'm going. God damn it.
We're all going.
She stole my idea.
And Matt's like, I'm coming.
Yeah.
Because he was told he had to when he got his answers.
Yeah.
And so
he doesn't want to die.
Chapter 22, Out of the Stone. In this chapter, they go out of the stone. And they walk. And they're like, oh, God, it's going to take us a while to get to the Aiel Waste. And Rand is like, no, we're taking portal stones. And Matt is like, the hell we are.
I did not agree with
I was like, are we flickering again? I was so excited for Flicker 2.0.
I mean, we kind of got...
so excited. No, we didn't get Flicker 2.0. It works this time. Rand is on it this time. It does what...
Ryuden is
we'll
kind
get
of
to
like
that. We will get to that. I'm trying to get through all of this in the next 20 minutes so that we have 40 minutes to talk about Ryuden.
Love it.
So they leave, and they really just Egwene has a chat with Rand about Elayne, but Moiraine kind of cuts it off, so Egwene can't explain to Rand what's going on, even though I don't agree with Elayne in this situation. I'm like, Elayne, he wants you safe. He's not being a dick.
Yeah, and my biggest problem is that, the women are always like, oh, you're so dumb because you don't understand, and no one bothers to actually explain anything.
Yeah, I also, I love in this section that, Egwene is like, I think the Aiel stole a bunch of stuff. And Rand was like, yeah, I told them it was fine.
Yeah. He's like, that's their tradition.
Yeah.
Who am I to tell them no? They conquered, they're helping him, he's like, yeah, 1/5. Which,
is fair.
Yeah.
It's a better policy than we're going to take everything.
Yeah, okay, 1/5, and no food. That's fine.
Yeah, they left the food behind. They
I
left
get
the
that.
water. I think they took some water, but like whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go out and they're like walking around, and Rand is like, I'm pretty sure there's a portal stone over here because of a book. And I'm like, wow, Rand is like a nerd.
Rand is a nerd.
When did Rand become such a book nerd? Oh my god, we should have him on the podcast. He probably reads Wheel of Time.
Hey, probably. Yeah.
And so the Aiel are like, we
can find this thing.
But this was like, I was like, Avienda, what do your elf eyes see? And Avienda's on top of a hill, and she's like, I found it. It's over there.
That was pretty great. And this is kind of the first time he really notices Avienda. He's like, oh yeah, Elayne's friend. Cool. She doesn't like me.
That's not gonna be important later.
Yeah.
So Rand muses about the Gen Aiel, which I think is the first time we've heard about the Gen Aiel, and we're about to learn a lot about the Gen Aiel.
I don't know if it's the first.
I don't remember hearing about the Gen Aiel before this, but.
Yeah. Okay.
The Gen Aiel is the lost tribe of the Aiel, right?
The
lost
truest
set.
Aiel.
Yeah, but they're the ones who are gone. They don't know where they are anymore. They've lost them. And we're gonna find out who those are. We're gonna find out who those are. The Endwives.
We lost them, and now we can't find them.
Meanwhile, they're having a blast. You know, the Endwives are somewhere living it up.
Oh yeah.
They're having a good time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so
yeah.
They find the portal stones, and Ruark is like, "Oh, hey, that's Riordan's symbol." And Rand is like, "Glad you're here. It's really good that you're here, buddy."
Yes, that was like a nice save. But I also love that Matt's like, we're gonna toss a coin for these symbols because there's like two.
Yeah,
right.
They rely on Matt's luck, and then the coin lands perfectly straight up and down.
No, that's the other time.
Oh, that's the other time.
This time it lands, and Rand calls it before he even reveals it, and he's like, "How did you know?" And Rand's like,
"Yeah,
Taviran."
Right. I mixed up the two times.
But yes, later on he does for the coin of whether or not Matt goes into the things with him.
Yeah.
And
so
Rantelmore, thank you for the super chat.
Rantelmore, thank you. Got some early nerd Rand in the show in the library when we met Loyal. That's true.
True. Yeah, you're
He's
right.
a book boy.
He's a
I
book
love
boy.
a book boy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard Avienda's casting has been announced? Yes, we're very excited.
We did see that. It's very cool.
I like Ayola Smart. She was in a show called Killing Eve.
Mm-hmm.
That is very good. If you've never seen Killing Eve and you want to get to know Avienda before you meet Avienda, go watch Killing Eve. It's actually like it's really a fantastic television show.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend that show. So they
Moiraine is like, I hope you know what you're doing, and Rand's like, yeah, I've got it, Angriel.
But also Rand is like, yeah, totally. This is.
It's gonna be fine. Rand is like, it's like the How to Train Your Dragon meme.
Yeah,
with the two dragons and then Hiccup, like. That's exactly what I imagined here.
Nexium brings up a good point. Remember to hit the like button. If you're watching on YouTube.
That like button.
It's there.
It's a good button.
It's free.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Chapter 23.
It works.
It works.
Basically, they get to
barely. Rand is like, oh my god, that was a close call.
He does nearly kill himself, and Moiraine is able to like stabilize him. Mm-hmm. But she's like, I can't heal everything, so let that serve as a reminder to you.
Yeah, and so he
could have done it with Kalendor, I'm sure, but doesn't want to take it with him.
He's like, I need to leave Kalendor behind for now.
And I think
he's like, I need to earn Kalendor.
Well, I think I need to earn Kalendor, and I need Tyr to remember I am coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't fuck up his plans.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. And so there's a bunch of people already there, and there's two camps, and they just kind of appear, and so everyone like rides out to them, or not rides because they don't ride horses. Everyone walks over.
They sprint.
In my head, it was like the riders of the Rohirrim, but then now I'm like realizing
they have a lot of pack animals.
Well, no, but the pack animals don't come over to this. It's just a bunch of people walking over in the desert.
Yeah.
And they're like, hey.
Hey. The ground is very hot. Lan like pours like water for like Moiraine and Egwene and is like, tie these, whatever, don't die.
Oh, Lan is on it.
Lan knows.
Lan is getting the girls wet. Like he does. He's very good at getting the girls wet.
Yeah. But apparently Lan knows more about the Aiel than Moiraine realizes.
Yeah, because they fought for years. And she never asked.
And she never asked.
I did appreciate that. She's like, damn it.
Yeah.
I will rectify this situation. This is also where we find out, this is where we get the Moiraine POV of Moiraine being like, I hope that the girls learn the secret of the Sea Finders that I think is true.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I was like, wow, this is
God,
subtle.
Moiraine, you are so...
Subtle.
You're the worst.
You're the worst. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, so, wow, we are in the waste. We are in the waste, and...
We meet the wise ones. We meet
We
Amis, who is Ruark's wife.
Yep.
Immediately on board with this character. And also her relationship with Ruark in this moment.
They have a
Very
nice
cool.
moment, and then they're like, your other wife says hi as well.
And so Ruark goes up and is like, bet you didn't expect this. And she's like, no, I did. And he's
Yeah,
like,
I saw
what?
it.
And everyone's like, what do you mean? Then she's like, oh no, we wrote you a letter saying that you were going to be here at this time. And you're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dreamwalkers apparently, like, some Dreamwalkers apparently can get the... Because up until now we've been set up that the Dreamwalkers and stuff are based on, like, you get the feeling that things are going to happen and, like, foreknowledge, but it isn't, like, specific to any date or time. But then the Aiel are like, oh, no, you're actually 5 seconds later than we thought. So, like,
Well, no, Moiraine is...
we're a little slow here, kids.
In the letter, Moiraine is like, yeah, it said that we would be here today, and I didn't really understand how. And then Rand mentioned portal stones, and she was like, all right, well, I guess it's going to work. I feel like Moiraine would have resisted more Rand using the portal stones if the letter hadn't kind of given that away.
Yeah.
I think she would have been like, maybe this is a terrible idea. Because it kind of was. But, you know, all things fall into place, so...
We have some bots coming in trying to tell you about hot girls and boys video chat in your area, and Wheel of Time Fan Edit really wants that link. So, thank you, mods, for all of the work you do. I just want to take a quick moment to say to Kuna, Shalish, and Monkey, thank you so much for all the work that you do. You are the best.
Yeah.
Everyone, throw some love to the mods. They're
Yes, take a second. Love to the mods, please. Right now, they do so much for us, and
I also
appreciate
I
it.
love that the show's grown enough that we get bots.
Aww,
Look at us!
guys,
Look at this little community.
We made it.
Getting botted by spam pretending to be porn.
Oh my god.
So we learn a lot about the Aiel here, and this is where this gets a little bit deep, y'all, and it's hard to talk about all of this stuff because like we learn a lot about the Aiel in the next few chapters.
We do.
And
we are probably going to miss things that we will, we'll do our best not to and to make up for, but there is so much. We should have done an
There's so
episode just for these chapters.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It is what it is. But
so we learn a lot. We learn things like there's no fighting in Riordan.
Yep.
There's no fighting if someone is on the way to Riordan or coming home from Riordan. You can't fight.
Yeah.
That person is protected until they get home, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I love the Aiel culture that we start to learn.
They have these really like specific ideas of honor and what makes you like a good person and, and that kind of thing and
then we learn how those things developed in the next few chapters.
Yeah,
like the duality of those two things is so cool.
It was so well done. Like it blew my mind. It was one of the coolest things other than like the Agati Bloodrun in Eldest in the Aragon series. This was like the coolest part in a book I had ever read.
Yeah, I understand why Shadow Rising is people's favorite book. The next 4 chapters are some of the best fantasy writing I've read in my life.
Yeah.
I think that this is the coolest. The way that Riordan reveals information is fantastic. And so let's get into it.
No, we're not actually doing a bonus episode.
No, we don't have time, unfortunately, to do a bonus episode right now. But
yeah.
We're gonna get through this.
We had no idea this was happening.
So the Shadow are here, and the Shido. And they're there because they've lost their clan chief. And so we learn that Muradin is going into Riordan.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm pronouncing all of this wrong, but they're sending Muradin he's going to go do the test to see if he can be the next chief of the Shido people.
Yep.
So he's going to go in around the same time that Rand says, he's like, I'm going in.
He's already in there.
Or he's... they've sent him, yeah.
Yeah, and his, brother, I think it is like, if he doesn't come back, I'm gonna go.
I wish my name was Cooladin.
Cooladin.
I'd be so cool. Cool as a Cooladin. And Cooladin's like, maybe I'll go too, if he dies. Which, Cooladin's going into Riordan. 'Cause we know Muradin rips his own eyes out. which
Well,
is
doesn't-
really dark.
He doesn't rip his own eyes out.
Yeah, he does. He claws his eyes out of his own
He
face.
scratches his face.
Yeah, no, and then Rand comes back another time, and he's like, there are like holes where his eyes were. Did I read that wrong? I'm pretty sure Muradin rips his own eyes out because of what he sees going through the tower of glass.
I guess I missed that. I knew he was like scratching at his face.
So they find out that not all wise women can channel, which I think is really cool. Some wise women channel, and some wise women are dreamwalkers, and some wise women channel and are dreamwalkers.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, this is cool. I love that, like,
You
because the
don't
Aes
have to
Sedai.
channel to be a dreamwalker.
Well, but the Aes Sedai are like, oh, Wolf Brother isn't Aes Sedai, and what Huron says isn't Aes Sedai, and like Aes Sedai is just channelers, right? And I like that the Aiel are like, no. If you have any of these like superhuman gifts, you become a wise woman.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually curious. I'm curious about Avienda because can Avienda channel? Or does Avienda have some other thing, like a Wolf Brother thing, that would make her a wise woman?
It's Egwene talks about how she is drawn to Avienda.
You're right. No,
she
you're right.
can use one power. She's one of the like few people who can just like inherently touch it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. I'm wrong.
But
I got excited about my theory and I forgot what I read.
But like I like that idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Aiel have very different ideas about what can make you like a wise woman, right? Which is very cool. But yes, we do know that Avienda can channel. That was kind of confirmed for us. You were right. He rips his eyes out. I don't know how I missed that. I guess there was just a lot going on. But thank you, chat.
So Rand is like, I'm going in there, and they're like, what? And then Cooladin is like not so cool for a moment because he's like, what? He's not Aiel. And they're like, no, he is Aiel. And Rand's like, yeah, my mom was Aiel. And they're like, no, your father.
Dad.
Your father.
What?
I really thought we were going to learn who his father was, or I thought we were going to learn about Rand's past in Riordan. I was surprised we didn't.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
There was way too much in this section already. We're gonna learn about that next section probably.
Yeah. And so, so I guess I was wrong about Tigraine being Rand's mom, because I thought Tigraine was going to be part Aiel, and that would be where his Aiel blood came from. So
Tigraine isn't confirmed to be Aiel, so I think your theory is still possible.
Mm-hmm.
It could be Tigraine, yeah. It is weird that he like looks like her. So. And
then Matt is like, I'm going too, and they're like, no. And Rand is like, he's coming with me, and they're like, yes. I was like, okay, that was easy.
Yeah.
I thought that would be harder, but sure, Matt's going.
Yes. Methany, thank you for the super chat.
I recommend rereading the glass columns in reverse order. I did. It was very cool.
I unfortunately did not have time to, but I think I will before I start next week's reading, just because I finished yesterday, and then it was your birthday. And
there are some details. People had said in the Wheel of Time chat to do that, and so I did read it backwards as well. I think it's very fun.
I am going to.
Still hard to talk about. It's gonna be tough to get through it, but it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. And so Matt and Rand just start walking fully clothed, and this is important. They leave fully clothed.
Yeah, they just walk into the
Avienda.
After Elayne tries to straight up stab Matt through the chest with his spear.
That's right.
Tries
to kill,
murder him.
Yeah, and if he had, all war would have broken loose. It would have been bad.
That would have been messy.
Be cool. That's a spoiler. Something I said was a spoiler. Oh no, it's deleted. Okay.
No, not what you could.
And so, how could I spoil it?
You can't spoil. You can theorize.
And so Avienda is called to the wise women, and they're like, Avienda, it's time. It is time.
It is time. Yeah. And Avienda's
No, I like my spears.
Here's the thing, though. We know from at least the White Tower that a woman who can channel but is not able to figure out how to do it properly can die.
Yeah.
And so it's one of those moments where, like, Avienda, like, I feel so bad for you, but, like, you don't have a choice. Like, beyond duty, you also don't have a choice. Like, you might die. So.
Yeah, and so Avienda has to give up her spears, and then she has to go into Riordan as well to become a wise woman. But unlike the boys, this involves her getting completely naked for some reason. Because the boys can do it clothed, but the girls have to be nude.
Okay, so here's my thing, and I wanted to talk about this moment because when I was reading it, it didn't feel weird in this moment because the spear maidens have a specific wardrobe that they wear as a spear maiden that like she had to take off, right? The Cadensor, I believe, which is, you know, when Egwene is in the dream, Amos is like, you can't wear that, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a big deal. And so I don't think this moment would have been weird to me if Moiraine had also not gotten naked, because I thought, when I first read it, I was like, oh, it's the Cadensor, like, there's something about it, it's, like, very specific and special, fine, maybe she could have gotten other clothes, maybe. But then when Moiraine took off her clothes, I was like, oh, it's like a gender thing. That's weird.
I think it is specifically... Here's what I think it is meant to be, but we haven't seen it yet. Is that when Egwene goes through the ter'angreal in the White Tower, she has to be naked.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's that the ter'angreal that they have to go through once they're in Rhuidan, they have to be naked for that ter'angreal. Right? And I understand that, but why make her run fully nude across the entirety of the desert? Why not just be like, you're gonna go walk through this ter'angreal. When you get there, take your clothes off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It could have been as simple as that.
Yeah.
But
here's the thing.
There's just a disproportionate amount of nudity between men and women in the books.
Well, and that's the thing. If the guys had to strip down for it, it wouldn't have been weird.
No, it wouldn't. That wouldn't have been weird. It is specifically
sense.
that only the women have to run across the desert naked, but the men can go fully clothed.
Yeah.
That's what was weird about it for me.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's.
I love Moiraine took her clothes off just for fun. She just wanted to.
She's like, oh yes, me too. All right, I want to get in on the fun. And that's the thing, because we know the accepted trial also they step through without their clothes on. Whether or not that's like a has to, we have not had that confirmed or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it is weird that like the guys, it doesn't matter. Like
it's just it's disproportionate in the dream world that the women are more often naked. Like I wish that there was more of a parity between the genders in the nudity.
Yeah.
Same with the show. Show me more dicks. Let's go. Amazon.
Let's go. I'm
you own
here
Amazon
for it.
Prime. You can do what you want. And so Aviendha runs across the waste naked, and she's going into Rhuidan, and then Moiraine and they go and have some wine in a tent.
Yes.
And Moiraine is like, I need to go too, don't I? And they're like, yes, you do. And so Moiraine stands up and is like, fully nude. She starts running.
Drops trowel and just gets out of there.
Do you think... We don't see Moiraine naked. Do you think that Moiraine makes it across the desert fully naked?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's going to have a wicked sunburn.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be burnt.
Hopefully they have aloe vera in the waist.
She's going to be crispy.
Yeah, it's not going to be nice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Aviendha, I'm assuming Aviendha is, like, used to it, right? I'm assuming Aviendha has a base tan, but, like, we're told constantly how pale Moiraine is. That girl is like white of white, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna be crisped
She's gonna burn. Yeah.
She's gonna be a lobster.
She's gonna
I don't know how that helps anyone.
No, it's just gonna be uncomfy for a few days. It's peeling and...
Oh, God, yeah.
But
but she can't heal herself, and Egwene doesn't know how to heal.
Yeah, although Moiraine could likely teach her, or Ennis could teach her or heal her.
Yeah.
You know, it's a sunburn. I'm sure it's not, like, super crazy to heal, but...
Yeah. And so, Egwene is like, do I need to go too? And they're like, no. We were gonna teach you here.
No.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're fine.
Yeah, Egwene's like, I don't know if I want to do that.
She sees Moiraine take her clothes off. She's like, do I have to take my clothes off again?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't wanna.
But they make Egwene. They make Egwene vow that she will not go into the dream world unless they say that she can. Because they have to teach her because of how dangerous it is, and Egwene has just kind of gotten lucky up until now.
Well, and I think that she also has the ter'angreal. I think that like the ter'angreal probably offers some level of protection that she wouldn't have had if she was trying to do it kind of like freeform, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we get to chapter 24. Rhuidan. I don't know how to pronounce this, y'all. It's such a...
Rhuidan?
Rhuidan. Rhuidan. It's the Dean.
I don't know. I feel
if you know what that is, we can be friends. If you know what I'm referencing.
Rhuidan. Yeah.
Rhuidan. So yeah, they're like looking at this fog wall. It's sort of like in
The Boys.
It's sort of like in Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, how you have to collect all the badges for the fog wall around the final castle to go down. It very much reminded me of that.
Okay, it is Ruidian.
Ruidian? I like Ruidine. In honor of
Redeem.
Jim Rash's character from Community. So they pause for a second, and they're staring at the fog wall, and they're like, do we want to go through this? And then a fully nude Avienda just runs past them.
Matt's like, wait, I think that's Egwene's friend.
Was that Avienda? Yeah. Is she naked?
Man's like, I didn't see it.
It's so hot. Why is she nude?
Yeah. Yeah.
I love this moment so much because I really was there. Robert Jordan, sometimes he puts you in the moment, and I was sitting there like, can you imagine you're just like looking at this weird magic wall and a fully nude woman runs right past you straight through it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like lying in bed next to I was just cracking up and she's like, what is it? I was like, I can't tell you because you're not there yet, but it's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, that was great.
And so Rand and Matt do walk through. And it's a little bit cooler inside, which is nice. They're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
But they're thirsty. And so Rand reaches out with Sidin, and he feels that there's a giant underground lake underneath Ruidian, which is so cool. And he pulls the water up out of the ground.
And, like, puts it in the fountain.
Yeah. I was like, this is rad. This is such a cool idea. I love this, like, little touch of, like, oh, yeah, because there are deserts that have this, right? They have these underground lakes. And I was like, so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was very fun.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, very cool. And so they're kind of just, they're walking around Ruidian, and it looks like a city that is, like, in construction.
Yeah, it was like half built.
Yeah.
Right? Like the money ran out and the contractors left.
So it's Abu Dhabi.
I've never been.
Yeah, or is it Dubai? There's one of those cities, it might be Dubai, where they were building so much so fast. And then some of the projects ran out of money. And so there are these like beautiful, incredible skyscrapers next to these like half-finished buildings that are just kind of like undone.
They didn't quite get there.
Yeah, and they were supposed to build this like bank in the river, or in the ocean. They were going to build like this artificial island system of these beautiful homes. And they put the sand out, they like built up the islands, and then they ran out of money, and I think they built like one home on them. So they're just these empty islands with nothing on them because they never actually finished the project. I think it might be Dubai. Yeah, it's Dubai.
Yeah, okay.
So that
interesting.
The way that he wrote this is so funny to me because Dubai was not like that when he wrote this, and yet what he wrote is what modern Dubai kind of looks like in some ways.
Yeah.
And I just think that it's the power of fiction and our imaginations that he was able to imagine the city that we have built.
I mean, yeah.
Like we've done, it's just really cool.
Yeah. There's like parallels for sure.
Wheel of Time fan edit lives in Dubai?
Oh.
That's crazy.
That's rad. Cool. I've never been.
Nick CM says, as a rule, if someone fully naked runs past you, you run with that person because who knows what happened. Don't wait to find out. That's a good call.
You know what? It's a good rule.
That's something I learned in New York City. If people are running, run with them. Because you do not know what they're running from.
Fair.
Yeah.
You know what? That's, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that because of a story I'm not going to tell on this podcast, but maybe on a different show we'll talk about that. But I want to keep things fun today. Let's go. So Rand pulls up some water, and he's looking around, and they get to what they call the heart of...
what they think is the heart, which makes sense. You know, the pathways kind of lead to this like immediate courtyard, and there's a big tree.
Yeah, and so Rand is like, I have to go in there, but you can't come with me. And Matt is like, oh, no, it's not just a big tree. No. It's the tree of life.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I mean.
It's events of Adorsifafasfa. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm dyslexic. I can't read it.
It is a long word.
That word messes with my head.
Avendizora, I think.
Sure.
Something along those lines.
You could tell me anything that starts with Aven, and I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, just casually the Tree of Life, and a bunch of random Angreal, Terangreal,
just piles of them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
and Rand's like, I don't know what they do. There's two that they bring up a lot. There are two. It's a man and a woman holding a crystal ball, and they're facing each other, and they're like, that's going to be important later, but not now, so we're going to walk on.
Yeah. Later. Thank you for that foreshadowing.
The wheel was like, don't touch that
yet.
Yggdrasil, or the tree from Elden Ring. So...
it's pronounced apple.
I wish they spent more time just describing things in this courtyard.
I know, because there were so many, fascinating things.
There was,
but there's no time.
There's a lot of Angreals, don't worry about it. I'm like, no, what do you mean there's a lot of Angreals?
Yeah, like what? All of these could be so important.
Yeah.
Like what? And I hope. I don't know if you can like enter Rudian more than once. That's
No. Women can enter twice and men can enter once.
no. That's the question arch.
No. Ruidine. Women can enter twice and men can enter once. That's what they said in when they're talking with the wise women.
Oh, I thought that was
The
what
question
it
arch,
was
everyone
for
can
the
enter
question
once.
Arch.
But for Ruidine, a man can enter once and a woman can enter twice. I don't know if that's going to still be true after this, because I feel like Rand will have changed it somehow. But like that is what the Aiel believe.
They let in an outsider.
Mm-hmm. Avendora the Explorer. Come on, Vamonos.
For some reason, I thought that was the question arches, but yeah, but they let Matt in, so maybe that will change. It's one of those things where there are so many like incredible objects there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they have to go back. They need.
Yeah, and so
some of those are going to become very important.
Rand goes through the columns, and he says Matt can't go with him, and so Matt's like, I'll just sit here and wait for you. And one of those engrails, probably a Sa'angrail, based on it's a Tarangrail actually, is a door frame. It's a slanted, twisted door frame, like the one that he went through in Tyr. And he's like, maybe I can get some more answers because I'm confused. And so he goes through the door.
Oh, because they flip. They flip for if Matt's coming with him.
Oh, they flip. Oh, this is where it
coin.
lands. Yeah.
And Matt's like, "Did you do that?" And he's like,
yeah.
"I don't know."
Yeah. And so Matt is like, I'm gonna go through this door. I'm gonna get some more answers. Let's do this. And it's different this time, and yet the same.
Yeah. So there's
I cannot wait for them to visualize on the TV show.
There's a vampire there.
There's a vampire.
With flesh manacle straps. Made out of people, so that's horrifying.
Yeah, the way you just described that made me throw up a little bit in my mouth.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not. It was horrifying and awful.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know what... I feel like the agreement is literally between, like, human beings and vampires.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess, like, vampires can't hear music.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or I guess, I don't know, they'll die.
Mm-hmm. But they basically
imagine,
are
like
like
a D&D bard, like, going in... Anyways.
They basically are like, we don't answer questions. We grant wishes, I guess?
Yeah.
And Matt's like, what?
Matt doesn't understand because Matt didn't take 2 seconds to think about it.
But Matt says 3 things. He does say something. He says he wishes that he didn't have holes in his memory.
Uh-huh.
And they say, it is done. He insists on being free from the Aes Sedai and the power. They reply, it is done.
Yep.
And he wants to get away, and they were like, all right, fine, it is done.
But it's going to be done our way because you didn't specify. Because if you get 3 wishes and you have a genie, you gotta make sure there's no loopholes.
Yeah, so the one that's interesting is, so the holes in his memory is easy, right? He's going to get his memories back. What does it mean for Matt to be free of the Aes Sedai and the power?
Maybe the Aes Sedai can no longer see him. Like, he becomes, like, invisible to anyone who's Aes Sedai. They literally, like, can't know that he's there. I don't know, that's the only idea I have. But, like, Matt's there, like, everyone else can see him, but, like, Egwene and Nynaeve, once they take their, like, Aes Sedai oaths, like, will not be able to see him.
Weird.
Like, he just, like, doesn't appear.
Yeah, he didn't specify a price, which is his mistake.
Oopsie, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder if him dying isn't the only price he's going to have to pay for this.
Oh, there's definitely, there's
going to be something else,
There's
right?
going to be other things, for sure.
9th level wish spell.
Literally. But yeah, I don't really know how Matt is just going to be free of Aes Sedai because they're going to, like, because they're going back and, like, Moiraine is there.
People are laughing at me about the holes in his memory thing. Now I'm worried that he's going to get a bunch of memories that aren't his. Is he going to get all of his Manetheren memories back?
Oh no, Matt, what have you done?
Is Matt going to remember all of Manetheren? Because that would be so freaking cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Yeah. That makes complete sense.
Oh my god. No, it totally makes sense because when Rand finds him, he's looking at the spear and he's straight up just reading the old tongue. And Rand is like, how are you doing that?
I mean, to be fair, he could kind of already speak and read it in ways that he didn't quite understand. But yeah, he's
but
like
not so comfortably.
No. Like, he is full 100%. He's going to remember all of his past lives and it's going to be messy. Messy.
Shit.
Yeah. No, that's actually, because that's what he asked for.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
That's gonna be really fun.
And he's gonna have he's gonna be one of those people who like remembers everything from now on, and like those people who like can't forget things.
Yeah, like Mary Lou Harden.
Oh man.
Yeah. Matt Cawthorn is about to be so cool. Oh, and then in the final thing when he's like suddenly really good with the spear and not just with the quarterstaff, but he's like it has a spear on it, and he's using it as if he's used a spear or a glaive his whole life. It's because he has new muscle memory because he has his past. Oh, fudge.
To be fair, they are like similar enough weapons, but yeah. He just leveled up.
They're similar, but they're not, right? Like, the weight of a glaive versus the weight of a spear is so different to use.
Yeah,
and so for him to just pick it up and start using it like he's been using it his whole life would be... Wow.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't watch chat. Apparently, there's some spoilers going on, so don't spoil it.
I'm kind of freaking out, y'all. Guys, I just want to start reading again. Can we end the show so I can start reading more?
Yeah. Oh, man.
All right, everything goes dark. We have 22 minutes, and we have 2 chapters left. Okay. I think we can do this. Ship captain.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Okay, so
oh my god,
we get to travel through time.
Crazy that he is hung on the Tree of Life. That he dies on the Tree of Life.
Yeah, I know.
Fuck, that's cool.
I know. That's the end of this. Anyways. So...
Should we talk about this forwards or backwards? Well, what direction should we talk about these 2 chapters?
Do you want to talk about it backwards? Because I think that would, like, order it really nicely. So that way we don't have to keep bouncing between... This happened and affected this, like maybe starting from the end is actually the better way.
All right, so we're going to start from before the breaking of the world.
Yes.
Okay, so Rand goes, let's start with Rand goes to a hall of mirrors in a circus funhouse.
He's a funhouse, yeah.
Moiraine is ahead of him. And every time he like walks forward a little bit, he's hit by memories of the story of the Aiel.
Yes.
Which is, like, this is the coolest... This might be my favorite short story inserted into a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the coolest ways of giving out information. And when I realized that I was reading time in reverse...
It was so cool. Like...
Yeah. I just think this was brilliant. And I loved it so much.
Yeah.
So we start way back with Charn. Charn is in a place called... he's in a city. I don't know. And the Jokars are humming. And there's shawings, which reminded me of... which, every time they said there's shawings flying overhead, it reminded me of Wayne's World.
Uh-huh.
When they see a hot lady and they're like, shawing. And so I just imagined everyone in this being like, oh, there's a shawing up ahead. And so this is where we got a little spoiled last week. In the show last week, we got spoiled. Someone told us that Lanfear's real name was Moiraine Sedai.
Yeah.
And in this, we find out that Charn is an Aielman. He's a Dashane. And that he works for Moiraine Sedai. And he's trying to change his service over to Zarel Sedai. And so this is Lanfear before she went bad.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. That we're meeting one of the, like, apostles of Lanfear when she was a good person.
Yeah.
Or maybe she wasn't, but when people still thought she was a good person.
Yeah. And you know, because... other points in this like flashback talk about that Lanfear was not always a bad person, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and so he wants to he's gonna get married to someone named Nala because she served Zarel Sedai. So I guess he was like, I guess when you marry someone who serves in Aes Sedai, you have to like change your service to them for like simplicity's sake.
Yeah.
So they're talking about how today's the day that Moiraine Sedai is going to break the power or introduce a new way of using the power so that channelers aren't restricted to their genders.
Yes.
And so in doing so, they destroy the bore on they destroy the seal in the Dark One's prison. So I think that this is literally the beginning of the war. I love the idea that Lanfear it becomes this evil character because she she in her like attempt at knowledge and attempt at moving science forward, she destroys the seal on the Dark One's
and
prison.
herself, in a way.
And loses herself to the dark in that.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, this could have been a book. This one page of this could have been a whole ass book. And it's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I could, like, this was, like, God, just next level. So, yeah, I wasn't actually expecting to go that far back.
Yeah, no, God, no, me either.
And,
I didn't expect to go back in time at all, so...
Well, not, like, once we started going back in time, I got, like, I didn't think we'd go that far, but...
So this happens in the Columdine, or Columdan or something. It's a giant floating sphere. It's like the original White Tower was like a Death Star hovering above a city. Which is rad.
Yeah.
I wonder if we've been to this city. Like, this city 3,000 years later.
I mean, it could be anywhere, right? Because the breaking literally shifted placement of the world.
Well, and the White Bridge had that, like, white tower thing sticking out of the sky. I wonder if that white tower that has no doors was, like, a piece of this sphere that had, like, crashed into the earth and was still just sticking straight up or something like that.
Yeah. Isn't there also, like, a statue with a sphere that Rand gets fascinated by for a moment by accident?
Yeah.
Probably not the same sphere, but like...
it could be those two people... No, it's a man and woman both holding up a sphere. Maybe that sphere is the Kulam Dawn in those Angreals. That would be cool.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure.
So, years later, we're with Cumin now. And Cumin is in the fields. And he is Dashane Aiel. And he and the Ogier start singing the song. The song, we've heard the song now.
Yeah, we know the song.
They've been looking for the song.
We know
what the song is. The Tuatha are like, we're waiting for the song. We found the song.
Yeah.
And it's because the woods, the wood singing is not just something Ogier can do, but humans can do it too.
Yeah. And the Aiel singing, that is like a legend that is like in between these like flashback things. It's so cool. We got another Nym, which we can't remember what the name of the Nym was in book 1. So if it's the same one, please let us know.
I love that we finally got a reference to the Green Man from Eye of the World.
Yeah.
Because I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting to be like, are we just gonna forget that we had a giant green dude in this book?
Yeah.
But no, the Nyms were important. They were part of like agriculture and like.
Yeah. And it was, and the fact that the Aiel were like, the way of the leaf was like ensuring that just like things grew, that it was literally like life on this like planet or continent or whatever it was. Like, it is the same one. Okay.
So
So
the Cumin goes to one of the guards, one of the warriors, who is fighting the war against the Dark One that is unleashed by Leandrin.
And it's the Sanshin helmet.
It's the Sanshin helmet!
Yeah! Oh my God!
It's the Sanshin helmet that he's wearing. And he's like, our communications broke, which they have like radios. It's so cool. So
they have Bluetooth.
They have Bluetooth. So he's like, our communications broke, but loose there in Telamon and the 100 companions, which is actually 117 apparently, but they went and they beat back the Dark One, so the war is over, and everyone's so excited.
Everyone goes to celebrate.
Except that people know that Charn once worked for Moiraine, who went on to be Lanfear, and so Cumin goes and looks for Charn, and Charn has been hung behind an inn. And I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know Charn yet. I didn't know Charn until the next paragraph, but when I read it in reverse, I was like, poor Charn.
I know, right?
He never did anything wrong.
And didn't the one guy, like, punch him in the face?
Yeah, he gets punched in the face in the street. By
a
random guy.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of people kind of turning on the Aiel.
Yeah. The very beginnings of it.
And so...
oh man, that was sad.
That was sad, right? Crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
So then, years later... We're in the breaking of the world. This literally this is the history of the world that we're getting. It's I can't put my hands down. I'm so excited. I look ridiculous right now. So now we're with Jonai. And Jonai works for the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And Jonai is an Aiel, which essentially is they just like work for the Aes Sedai, I guess, at this point. Like being an Aiel means that you're a peaceful person who helps and with agriculture and helps the Aes Sedai.
Well, because the Aes Sedai have their oaths, right? That they won't like harm people unless like the 11th hour kind of deal, right? And so the Aiel
I'm assuming the 3 oaths go back beyond the breaking.
I think so.
And so we get Jonai coming in to a meeting of the Aes Sedai, who are they have Kalendor in front of them, and they have the Dragon Banner, and they're trying to decide what to do with them. And in this meeting they talk about some young men who have not yet gone mad.
Yeah.
And so I'm assuming that those are the young men that help those women seal Kalendor in the Stone of Tyr. This might even be the Stone of Tyr where they're in.
It could be, because things moved around so much that, like, who knows, yeah.
But, yeah, so we're now in the breaking. The world is breaking. Men are going mad.
And the Aes Sedai are talking about they have to do something, but whether or not it's the right time is, up for debate, right?
Which I think is sealing away Kalendor.
Yes, that's what I think it is as well.
Or sealing away and also the Horn of Valir.
The Horn and the Banner.
The Horn and the Banner.
Yeah, for sure.
Which I hope we come back to these Aes Sedai later. You know what I mean? I hope that we get to see what they do with these two things.
That's a New Spring. No.
No, I think New Spring's Moiraine is a kid.
No, it's not. It's definitely not that far back.
And so the Aiel want to. The Aiel want to stay in whatever town they're in because they want to they want to basically die so that everyone else has time to evacuate. They want to create a human shield around the city so that everyone else has time to get out. And the Aes Sedai are like, no, everyone's out. Stop worrying about that. We need you to put everything in wagons because all the Jokars and showings have been destroyed. We need you to take everything in wagons, and we need you to take all of the Ongriels, Songriels, and Tarongriels, and we need you to keep them safe. And the Aiel are like, all right, this is our mission. The Aiel are tasking us with this thing. We have to do this. We cannot fail the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And so the Aiel go out into the world, and they take their stuff, and they
become the Tuatha'an, basically.
They basically become the Tuatha'an.
Yeah.
And so at this point, the Aiel and the Tuatha'an are the same thing.
Yes, at this point. Yes.
Yeah.
They don't have the name Tuatha'an, I believe. But the here's the thing. I immediately, had the inkling, because they're called the, Atha'an
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's all of the hints of what they're about to become is there.
I was like,
all the pieces are there. They just
fun.
need to fit them together like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, I was like, that's so close. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anders Cox says you could say they began in Exodus. Yeah, yeah. This feels. What's so fun about this history is it feels biblical. It's written in a way to have the epic feeling of a Bible story.
But you're experiencing it and not just one of the Bibles that 100 people wrote and you picked that one because you liked it the best,
But yeah, he's Rand is getting the full point of view. And as he's going down these paths, he keeps catching up to Muradin, and he does see Muradin clawing at his face and clawing his own eyes out and putting his veil up, and Muradin cannot handle this information.
Did Orchid Eater what did I call out?
What did Clarus call out during the Eye of the World read?
Please tell me. I want to know. I want to know what I was right about because I've forgotten.
And so Jonai takes his wife and kids into a wagon and they leave Perrin for the last time.
Yeah.
Orchid Eater, I'm curious what Clarus called out. What did she get right?
I can't remember what I said. I'm sure you'll remind me.
We've said so many things.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we talk so much.
So then years later, Jonai stands at the edge of a cliff, and he's staring out towards where Kamel had lain. And his wife Elnora is now dead.
Yep.
And
they've been attacked.
Yeah.
Well, because the world is breaking and there are horrendous people around, and the way of the leaf is that they don't harm no matter what, and that is difficult. Faye, thank you so much.
Thank you for that super chat. When the Green Man appeared in Book 1, Clarus speculated the Aiel were the people of the dragon and followed the way of the leaf. I was so excited for you. How did you get that?
I don't know.
That's why the Tuatha are allowed to cross the waste.
Oh, that's why I thought it. Because it was weird that Guys, I don't remember what I've said, but yeah, I do remember.
It was the wheel. The wheel weaves as the wheel wills, y'all.
Wow, so you guys were probably sitting here being like, has she read these books?
Yeah, because now even I'm like, that is a crazy prediction for you to get right.
Well, because there's no way I could have known. I just was throwing out theories for the sake of theories.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny. Oh man.
So this is essentially this is the first time where the Aiel are really struggling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the Tuatha.
Oh, it was the swords as well. They can't hold swords. That was also part of it. Yeah, I'm remembering this now.
So the Jonai and his wagons, they run into some Ogier. And his people start feeding the Ogier, and Jonai's upset because he's like, we don't have enough food. But then he's like, no, it's the right thing to do.
But we are givers. Like, that is what we do.
And so they're talking to each other about the Ogier and Jonai about which direction they should go. And the Tuatha have just been attacked where they've come from. But he's like, well, they probably want to attack Ogier, so you can probably go that way, but we don't know where the steading is. And the Madral, there's Trollocs and Madral coming down from the Blight, which is growing. And this there's less action in this, but it's more these characters kind of revealing like just how bad the breaking was getting.
Yeah, like
for
the
everyone
world.
Involved, right?
Yeah, Tibet.
Thank
you for the super chat.
Hearing you talk about being so excited about talking about, oh wow, I can't read books gives me so much joy. Thanks. I fully dyslexiated that, but like, thank you.
You made it through. No, we this section blew our minds. Like, blew our,
Hearing you being so excited while talking, oh, that's what
Yeah. Because we've been loving this.
I'm Gucci, kids. So then, the Aiel the Aiel are going to keep to the covenant. They're going to keep the way of the leaf. And so going backwards, the last thing in chapter 25 or 26 is Adon, which is Adon is with his grandchildren.
Yeah.
And they've just been attacked.
Yeah.
And some of them have been taken away.
Yeah.
The wagons are burning. People are lying dead on the ground, and this is where the shift in the Aiel happens. There are now the question of, well, what do we do as the Aiel?
Yeah.
The Tuatha on keeping the way of the leaf. We are failing the Aes Sedai because we're losing the Angreals. They're being stolen. All the stuff that we're told to protect is being stolen from us.
Yeah.
But we need to keep the way of the leaf. And how do we keep the way of the leaf and save what the Aes Sedai told us to save?
Yeah.
And which of those two things do we do? It's tough. You can't do both.
Yeah.
Wow, these hot girls and boys are really trying to get into our chat. And I think that the most interesting part about this story told backwards is that you totally understand why the two versions of the Aiel break apart and become what they become.
Oh, it makes complete sense. Yeah. Like, it never felt weird or forced in any sense of the way. I was like, of course this is what happened. Like, of course. And especially with what happens with the one character who goes to save his sister, I think it starts with an L, and, like, accidentally kills... Lewin, and accidentally kills people without even, like, really, like, meaning to, and being, like, broken away from that, like, you are no longer Aiel, and he's like, no, I am Aiel, right? And he takes the Aiel and makes it something else. Like, oh my god, it was so cool. I'm like, I have, like, goosebumps right now.
Yeah, and so this is where the split happens. We're going back again, Lewin's point of view. Lewin and a group of friends, they break into this raider camp to, like, get his sister back, and she's broken. She's, like, complete. They've done something awful to her.
Yeah.
And he is about to be attacked. He's about to die, and one of his friends picks up a pot and kills one of the raiders. And in that moment, their covenant is broken.
Oh, I thought it was him. I thought it was Lou.
Is he the one who does it? I thought someone else attacked first.
I thought it was Lewin, because he just he was like, suddenly there was like a pot in my hands or something, or like a kettle.
Oh, sorry, So Charlin tackles the guy first.
Yes.
And then Lewin grabs a pot.
But doesn't like.
Dashan, thank you for that
tackles
super
him.
chat. Thank you so much. That's very kind. But what's crazy here is that it's a moment of self-defense. It's just self-defense. He's trying to protect his sister. Like, this is the most understandable thing in the world, the most relatable thing in the world.
Yeah.
But it isn't losing, because at first I was like, did they fail the Aes Sedai by losing the Angreals? Really? That's weird. No, they failed the Aes Sedai because they broke the covenant.
Yeah.
Because the Tuatha have not failed the Aes Sedai. The Aiel of the Waste have failed the Aes Sedai, and those are different things. The Tuatha have kept the covenant; they've kept the way of the leaf. But the Aiel, they failed the Aes Sedai because they lost the covenant. And they gave up on the covenant, and they picked up spears. And they didn't pick up swords, but they picked up spears, and they became fighters.
Yeah.
They became warriors. And in that moment, that's when they failed the Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
And that is the failure that the Aiel keeps, that keeps the Aiel wanting to, work with the Aes Sedai, and they want to, like, come back from. They want to undo the damage to the covenant that they failed.
Yeah.
And I agree 1,000% with why they failed. I would have protected my sister too.
Well, yeah, and that's what makes it hard about it. Like, they wouldn't, like, the breaking broke the world, obviously. You know, like, and so it was kind of, you would have to just like sit back and like let all these horrible things happen, and most people can't sit back and like do nothing, right? They can't be passive. And it's there were so many failings, and it's one of those things where we've talked about the Aes Sedai oaths and how you can't like and how they are like a hindrance, but also they need to have that trust with people. Obviously people don't really like believe in the oath, so it's kind of, it doesn't matter anymore, but at one point like it really did, right? And and so and it's funny, it was funny talking about, I think it was Avienda who was like, we failed them. So what do you mean? We failed them. Yeah. You know, and she can't really like say more.
And so the rest of the history that we learn is that the Gen Aiel and the Aiel, which became two separate things, crossed the spine of the world into the Threefold Land with Aes Sedai at the time. They had 4 Aes Sedai with them at the time. And over the course of years and decades, they grew apart. And one group became the Tuatha An, and they began their search for the Song. Because I think that, they lost the Covenant and they lost what their goal was.
Well, and it's the Gen Aiel who have the 2 Aes Sedai with them who are like, we won't be anymore, right?
Yeah.
Like we are done.
Aes Sedai no more, or Aiel no more,
Yeah, we are done here. Like we aren't going to survive whatever the next step in this is, and that's.
Yeah. You talk about that for a second. I'm gonna go get our special guest.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Where's the first one?
The first one's up here. That's the first one.
Okay. Sorry guys, I'm trying to go through these notes. I was expecting to just be left with this because I wasn't the one reading through them. So the lost ones are. So the lost ones are the Tuatha An, if I'm correct. Oh, there's some spoilers happening in the chat. So the lost ones are the Tuatha An.
Here, you take the middle.
But not the Gen Aiel. Me take the middle?
No, Robbie.
Oh, I was like, what?
Everybody, this is one of my best friends. This is my buddy Robbie. Hi, everybody. Robbie has read The Wheel of Time.
Robbie has read The Wheel of Time.
I have read all of the books, yes.
Our first special guest for the book club.
So I wanted to bring him in because I was like, what is my wife going to get me for my birthday? And she flew out one of my best friends as a surprise. So I get to hang out with my friend today, and I'm very excited.
Yay! Happy birthday. Josh, thank you so much for that super chat.
Thank you.
Aes Sedai's fault for commanding them to essentially be defenseless during a cataclysmic societal fallout. Oh yeah, the Aiel had no choice.
The way of Love Leaf makes no sense.
No. I mean, I understand it from a narrative stance. I'm gonna be very vague. But I understand it from a pacifist standpoint, since that's a real thing. But in a world like this, it's pretty unhelpful.
You can't do anything about it. Dakuna Armad says you better not spoil.
Thank you for loving my shirt, whoever said that. You're great.
Daishan, thank you so much for that super chat. The Viridian chapter is one of my favorites in the entire series, especially when you realize why the Aiel put on the veil when they dance.
Yes, we have to talk about that because the veiling comes from the basically like the family turning to the parents turning to their kids and going, I never want to see your face again.
Yeah.
Like that.
Hide your face.
And so the veiling the veiling when they're willing to kill is like generational trauma.
Yeah, literally.
Literally generational trauma.
They don't know that that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I liked a lot that like one of the last shots they had of Muradin when he was going through was that he had like while gouging his own eyes out veiled his face.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really powerful like emotional moment. Just like even in like you said, generational trauma, even if they don't actually know the real reason why they're doing it and finding out why they are.
Yeah.
He still did it.
He was like clinging on to this thing that he like knew, even though I'm assuming they all experienced the same visions when they walked through this thing. I'm moving forward with that assumption.
Alex Takalev says, just a little side note, every man sees the history of the breaking from the point of view of their own ancestors.
That's what I was, that is what I was asking. Alex, thank you for that super chat.
So what's crazy about that is that not only is Rand the Dragon Reborn, right? Not only is he Luce Theron Telamon come back, meaning like that he was Lanfear's lover when he was Luce Theron Telamon, but he's also the descendant of someone who served Lanfear. Which is, that's cool. Thank you for that super chat, Robert Borgman.
Thank you.
Hello, Robbie. May you always find water and shade. So I wanted to ask, since we have someone who's finished the books here, what is your where does Shadow Rising rank for you in terms of the series?
High, especially among the books that Jordan wrote. I love Sanderson too. I like his finishing books. Won't go into that though.
Because you've read the whole Cosmere, right?
I still haven't read Elantris, but otherwise yes.
Gotcha.
But I like this book a lot. I think I did a quick like synopsis reread of the chapters because I was just like, I don't know.
You're like, where can I not
These are
spoil
some
after?
of the best chapters in the series. Like really, really good. The way that he chooses to tell the story, I think, is fascinating and works really well. And it's just it's a lot of. It's a huge lore dump that's done in a very, very gratifying way, I think.
100%.
And not in like I'm doing this Shakespeare soliloquy for you and like talking about it for 20 minutes, but in like in such a creative way where you don't quite realize exactly what's happening at first, and then there's another jump and another jump and like very clearly Robert Jordan is able to like hint at what's happening without being like, this is, without like banging it out in your face, right?
Well, and I also love that even something this explains so much of the history of the Aiel. It's very fortunate that Rand's ancestors experienced so much of the forming of the Aiel, but particularly we get to see the first Maiden of the Spear, right?
Yeah,
the first woman who's like, when she literally picks up the spear and goes, I am married to this now.
Yeah, to save her daughter. And then the guy's like, a spear takes a lot of training. He cuts it short so that she doesn't have to worry about, like, you know, I mean, catching her skirts or the end of it or whatever it is. It was so cool. Like, just literally watching their history unfold. I was like, I was geeking out.
And I think that sometimes, like, in modern culture, we get a little bit hung up on prequels. Because it's like too convenient, it's too like referencey.
Yeah.
And what's funny about this is it's a whole section of references, but the way that it is written, it feels so natural and human. Like the way that things happen and the way characters get to certain the reasonings behind why they're doing the things that create the modern Tuatha and the modern Aiel, they're so human and they're so. It's like I talk about with how I love Robert Jordan's writing because he writes coincidence in a way that it isn't coincidence. It is totally like justified. These characters run into each other for these reasons. It's the same thing here where like this is like the kind of prequel bait that I think that sometimes fans don't love in their series because they want things to be, they want to be able to imagine it more and that their imaginations can kind of fill in the past a little bit. But this is so human and what struck me most is in such a short amount of time, I cared so much about these characters.
Yeah.
And I really, like, this was by far the most emotional 2 chapters we've read so far.
Yeah. Chat makes a good point that actually there would be a lot of overlap ancestrally for the people who go in, right? Because it is so far back and we know that a lot of people did not survive the breaking. Like that is, like, very well known. And
our chat is smarter than we are.
Most of the time, except when I called this apparently in book 1 and I forgot about.
I was watching the stream and I saw that and I was like, "You called that? Dang!"
It was the swords that neither of them can carry swords, and it was that they were allowed through the waist. I do remember that, and maybe it was also part of the people of the dragon, but I can't remember. I'd have to go back and watch the live stream to see like exactly how my brain got there, but.
So we have to go to Banff, but we have a couple of segments that we do at the end of the show. First segment is our high-low, and the second segment is our smut corner. But so we'll do our high-lows first, because I want you to take a minute to think about it.
We'll need a minute.
I want your high-low from the first 4 books.
Oh no, I can't do that.
So your high, no, I'm
What's
trying to give you more space.
being like this chapter to this chapter, because I don't know.
Because I don't think you've read this. So just your favorite part of the first 4 books. And your least favorite thing about the first 4 books.
Okay.
And we'll go first so that you have a minute to think about it.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about sex scenes.
Yeah, and chat, feel free also, you can drop your high-lows. We'd love to hear them.
Robbie got to experience what dinner with my family is like last night.
It was wonderful.
It was a lot of speeches for my birthday.
It was very fun.
But the way that we do high-low here is we like to celebrate each other's highs and we get to commiserate over the lows. So the way we do it is that Clarisse goes first with her high, I do my low, she does her low, and then I do my high as a compliment sandwich, and you'll go low-high, so we end positive.
Low-high.
Okay. All right.
So Clarisse, What is your high for chapters 16 to 26?
Well, I think obviously it has to be something within this chapter 25, 26.
Oh yeah, it's just chapter 25, 26. There's no other high, right?
That is the high. That is
Yeah.
the high. However, I think it was I think it was the moment that we saw the first Spear Maiden. Because so I'm trying to be hyper specific. That one just was, I don't know, like the kicker for me. Oh, we didn't talk about Matt again,
Yeah, we'll get to,
so
we'll
we'll have to get to that.
We have to talk about Matt, the end of this section first. Yeah.
But yeah, my high it was, I think the moment I realized it was moving forward to backwards, which was like pretty early on. But then the first Spear Maiden who was going to save her daughter, and the guy like snapped the end of the spear off and was like, "Here you go," and like. It's so well written. Anyways, that is my high.
Thank you for that super chat, Mark Torres.
Alright, thank you so much.
Nerdy channels Robert Jordan's love of repetition by explaining high-low yet again. I know, Nerdy. I watched the show.
Yeah, I mean, if this is your first episode, it's one of the...
I know, I just feel like, I don't want anyone to, like, or someone who, like, maybe has never listened to the end, and, like, this is their first time. I want them to know what's going on.
That's
my low in this section is definitely Nynaeve on the ship. I'm just kind of, like, I'm glad Elayne was there to make it go well, but I'm like, Nynaeve, like, there's times where she shows that she can be more tactful, and when she does, she's a great character, and then there's moments like that where she's, like, struggling to just, like, be like this, and I'm like, you're literally going on a spy mission. Like, you're going on, like, a secret mission against the Black Aja. Show a little bit of, like, skill here.
Yeah.
And that just, I didn't love reading that Nynaeve chapter, but, What's your low, babe?
My low is... I kind of have like two like little ones, but I think that my low is the mustache thing with Thom. It's so weird to me.
Oh.
She just like grabs his mustache,
Yeah.
right? It's weird.
It's so weird.
I don't like it.
I remember when I did this when I was 1, so I'm just gonna grab a full-grown man's mustache who I've maybe met. Maybe.
Yeah, it was.
It's enduring. Come on.
Yeah, and then like a general low is the like Faile and Perrin. It just pissed me off. But other than that, you're high.
I mean, it's 25 and 26. It's just those two chapters.
Yeah, something specific.
The moment where we see the Ogier and the Aiel singing together in the fields.
Oh yeah.
Like and the Nim, and I was like, this is so.
The song.
Yeah, and it
that the Twahan
honestly,
are looking for.
Finally tying into the Green Man at the end of Eye of the World really was nice to me, because I was like, you introduced this crazy fantasy concept, and then it felt like it was almost forgotten. And so it's nice that, oh no, it's not forgotten, it's just that they're dead, and like they're not in the world anymore, and Semestra was the last one. And to like be like, oh no, there were Nims, there aren't anymore. Oh, and the fact that in that moment the warriors have the Sanchin helmets. That fucking like rocked me.
So much in that section that was so good.
Do you have a high-low? Are you ready?
I do, yeah, I'm ready. Okay,
Let's go.
So
Low first.
my low, I feel is a bit of a cop-out, because I think a lot of people think this, but I don't love the ending of the first book. I have issues with the first... I just think that the way that they get there is not entirely... I mean, I don't have a problem with the ending, I just think it's kind of like... I don't know, rushed. I guess it's not entirely thought through, and I do think Jordan actually mentioned that. I also have some issues with the first book just because of the way the industry was when he was writing it. No one wanted anything that wasn't Fellowship of the Ring. And so like,
there's a
lot of it is that, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that the way, anyway, more specifically, the way that they get into the climax of the first book, where they're like, we just gotta go there. Okay, let's do it. Leaves something to be desired. But
and the meeting in the tavern where they're like, oh, we'll just no, we're not going to travel. We're just going to
go. We can do it. It'll be great.
Moiraine's like, 3 people have told me the same thing. I'm changing all my plans.
Do it.
Yeah.
My high is Matt blowing the horn of Valir. I really like it. I don't know. It's kind of cheesy, but I don't know. That gave me chills the first time I read it. I also love Matt, and he's one of like my favorite characters, and the way that his story just goes, it seems to continually be him being like, shit, I don't want to do this. And doing it anyway.
I feel like that's a lot of your life, though.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I feel like your wife is like, we're doing this. You're like, I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that, but I will.
Sorry, Liz. I love you.
So, question, because we've talked a lot about Matt specifically more recently, and we talked that he kind of feels like he has a bit of a soft reset.
He does. Well, yeah, absolutely. Right? I think that you could say that about a few of the characters, like probably, well, maybe not as much Perrin, but Matt very much so. Matt kind of existed to like just exists.
Mhm.
And I think the
Yeah.
first few books, and they really make him a character more starting in book 2.
Yeah, Matt kind of is the like Merry and Pippin. Where like in the first book you're like, yeah, they're in the
They
fellowship.
exist.
They're
Oh.
there.
They tell jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
And then they actually do something in the second one.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the third one, and they become like just as important as
Mhm.
Merry
Yeah.
and Pippin are maybe my favorite Lord of the Rings characters.
Yeah.
Especially when they're high. The cut scene from
The
when
salt
they're
fork
Yeah,
is
yeah.
particularly good.
when
Yes.
they're smoking is just one of my favorite things. And Matt has a little bit of Merry Pippin energy to me.
Yeah.
Perrin less so. Perrin's kind of a sad boy the whole time. But
Yeah.
Perrin gives me more Boromir vibes. But
Lanfear says you win high-low, so.
you and
Thank
I.
you.
I don't
Thank you
know
very
if
much.
coming from
So-
Lanfear, I don't know how you feel about that,
That's okay, I'll take it.
I mean, she's hot. We do have to talk about it. So Rand gets out.
Rand gets
He
out
survives.
of the thing.
I don't
and
know if Moradin is. I don't know if he's alive.
I don't.
He is blind.
He's
but
not,
he
at
might
least
be.
blind. He might be dead.
So he comes out and Matt is hanging there.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't want to use like literally. That's what's happening.
No.
And
He's
he
hanging.
freaks out. He's hanging from the Tree of Life, which I think is like the metaphor of that's really beautiful. And Rand runs over, and one of my favorite bits of writing in this section is that Rand pulls Matt down, cuts the thing, and goes to use the one power to revive him.
And he's
and-
like, no.
Yeah.
Because he remembers the little girl from
Yeah.
Tyr, yeah.
He doesn't want him to be a puppet of the power. He wants him back.
And so he knows CPR
Yeah.
because...
And so he gets on Matt's
Tam
chest and he's
taught
going,
him
Yes.
stay alive,
Yeah,
stay alive.
that's how you do it.
Yeah, it's great.
Training.
Yeah.
They learn it really well in Two Rivers.
It's the one song that survived the breaking of the world.
That's the one the Tuatha are looking for, and they just haven't gotten to the Two Rivers yet. That's it. That's the one.
And yeah, so then Matt comes back, and he has a sick black like spear staff thing.
Glaive.
And they're like, let's go.
And he reads it. Do we have the inscription?
I don't
No.
have it. He
So
reads,
sorry, Chad.
He reads Ill Tongue. And he's
Yeah, and Rand's like, I don't know what the heck that says.
yeah. What's confusing to me is like when I read in French, I'm not like confused that it's French. Like I'm not sitting there like, oh yeah, this looks like English. No, it looks like French. But Matt seems to read the Old Tongue and not realize it,
No, yeah, he has absolutely no idea.
which is magic.
Yeah, it is. There
It's
is
literally
a
magic.
lot of magic.
So they're fleeing, and then the dust becomes assailants.
There's a bubble from the Dark One's taint.
Yes. The Dark One has a taint fart again, and the miasma.
The bubbles thing is it's a weird one.
You just
to
hear
me.
the disappointment in your voice.
Yeah.
I mean, the Dark One's taint, you can't really avoid it, can you?
You know, it's right there in the text.
When did taint start meaning what it means now?
I think
Because it must not have been in the 90s.
I mean, it might have, it's just people might not have
I
been as
thought-
shitty as we are now.
yeah, no, I think like that is the actual terminology for that section of the body. So I don't actually know.
I love the description of Matt using this new weapon as if he'd always used it, like the quarterstaff. And I wonder how much that comes from what we were talking about earlier with he gets his memories filled, and he's got that Manethrin shoved back up in him.
I think he has the memories now of.
I cannot wait for this
his
next section.
previous
Y'all, I need to
lives.
start reading again.
Yeah.
This next section is gonna be wild.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. And then they fight them off. Rand dispels them with the power, and Matt's like, "Why didn't you do that?" And he's like, "I didn't know I could, so
Yeah.
sorry about it."
It's like I didn't think of it sooner.
And yeah, they get out, and that's where this leaves off.
Yeah.
Which means it's time.
It's time for Smut Corner.
It's time. If you are one of the 7 to 9% of our audience that leaves for Smut Corner, we will see you next time.
Yeah.
My name's Nerdy.
Like the video.
This
I'm
is
Clarus.
Clarus. This is Robbie.
I'm Robbie.
Yeah.
But let's. Where would you add a sex scene into this section of the book?
Oh, I have to go first.
Or Robbie, where would you?
I wasn't prepared for this part. I didn't realize I would be in here for this part.
What? Okay, so
You
what
didn't
would
get the brief.
if the shower is going to add any sex scene? What's the relationship you want to see?
I'll think about this chapter. I mean, I would say anything on the ship, just because I like pirate type stuff. That's my personal thing.
That's fair. That's fair.
Have you seen Our Flag Means Death yet?
I have. It's great.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know Elayne really wanted the Windfinder Joran to teach her things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the one power, but like maybe some other things. You know, Elayne is now like. With Rand, she's gonna need to like learn some things to keep the
Matthew,
other two
thank you for
women.
that super chat. Matt also has a medallion.
I missed that part.
Yes.
Is that important later?
He has a fox head medallion.
I'm
Oh,
assuming
he's a
that's not
witcher.
I'm not gonna tell
He's
you
a School
what.
of the
Toss
Fox
a
Witcher.
coin to Matt Cawthorn.
No, I'm saying
You know where
like,
I would add it?
wait, but Elayne has got 2 other women as well as Rand. Like, she's got to learn some kind of tricks.
Oh, this
right?
is like her introduction to like that sapphic.
Yeah. So
the skill she's gonna need for the threesomes of her.
Yeah,
future.
so Jordan the Windfinder is going to teach
Yes.
Elayne
Mhm.
how to, make sure everybody is satisfied and happy.
You know where I would add one? When Lan just like grabs Nynaeve and they start making out. I would have
just
changed
rip
the whole
each
thing.
other's clothes
Yeah,
off?
and I would have like cut to a camera cuts to Elayne and Nynaeve or Elayne and Egwene, and they're looking at it, and you just see them like slowly edge themselves out of the door, and like they're like very uncomfortable.
They
but
slowly edge themselves.
maybe that too. I also think
you're
like
welcome.
I don't think it's a smut corner for this week, but I think next week at some point Perrin and Faile are going to just like ravish each other on the ground in the ways, and everyone's gonna like turn their back and like wait for them to be done.
I mean, I feel
Because
like
the sexual tension has to be cut.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think that like the Aiel have problems with sexuality or sex.
Oh no,
so they'll
Bane
just
and
be
Chiad
like,
are gonna be like
they're gonna like give
chewing-
directions
yeah.
and be like, try this, and Gal is just probably gonna be like, okay, cool. Loyal though, Loyal is going to leave them in the ways. He's going to straight up leave them there.
No. He's gonna stay and he's gonna record it. He's gonna write it down. He's
For
gonna be
his
like,
book.
oh, this is how humans
This is gonna get into his book.
Yeah.
do the pun far.
It doesn't take 8 days like it does for Ogier, They're very hasty. 5 minutes to Perrin. All right, fine.
Perrin Barra did not understand the meaning of foreplay. It was strange. I would have thought Taviran would know such things.
No.
All right, y'all. I think that's our show. Robbie, thanks for popping in at the end here.
Of course, yeah.
Thanks for not
having
spoiling
me.
anything.
I
Yeah.
hope I didn't inadvertently. I don't think I did.
Which book that we've not read yet are you most excited for us to get to?
I really like the last one that Jordan wrote. I think it was 8.
11.
11, yeah, sure.
11?
Yeah.
That's a
So
lot of
many.
people.
Josh, thank you for that super chat.
I really like that.
Laris giving Min lessons. Good one.
Ooh, yeah.
Good
mhm.
good spot corner.
Yeah, that is a good smut corner.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, okay, but it's like very instructional. It's like this is like there's notes, there's like a textbook. She's like
Yeah.
written herself. Yeah, 100%. Oh my
There's
God.
there's a video that they watch. She has like an instructional video from like when her
God.
school.
Oh my God.
Did you guys have to watch the instructional video? I don't think you would have had it in the States, but did you have to watch the instructional video about how to put a condom on a penis?
Oh, we did. We just did the thing with the banana.
Oh no, we did the thing with the banana, but there was a video that we had to follow.
Yeah.
I don't know that we had a video.
Yeah, I think it was because the teacher just didn't want to, so we had to like watch
Yeah.
a video.
Lars is your like sex ed teacher and it has like all the everything that Min is gonna need
She's
to
like,
know.
Min, when you finally choose between those two boys, these are the things you're gonna do.
Oh my God. Oh
All
man.
right, well that's the end of the show. God damn it.
If you stuck around for
Oh.
Smut Corner things, it's a lot of fun.
Y'all, thank you so much. Thank you to my wife for bringing my friend out for this. This is very fun.
Yay.
And we're gonna be live next week. I don't have those chapters in front of me.
It's many less chapters than it was this week. This book was broken down for us for the first 15
It's actually
chapters.
more chapters.
It is?
Yeah, so the next
Oh.
chapters is going to be 27 through 39.
Oh shit.
Um,
The last section is only like 7 chapters. The
Yeah.
What made you break it up in a certain way?
chat.
they chose.
Oh, okay, cool.
Chat figured it out
Chat
for
always
us.
knows best.
They chose good places where like it ends on like an arc ending. Like
I was wondering how you managed to so luckily end right at this moment. I was like, wow, that's pretty lucky.
So if you're not a
Chat.
member of our Discord, join our Discord.
Yeah.
In the Discord, there's a Wheel of Time channel that is up until where we've read, and then there's a spoiler channel for people who've read all of it,
very
and
cool.
they make decisions in there that impact our life.
Yeah. Oh
Great.
yeah. It's like a channel in our own Discord that we're not allowed to go in.
Until
Which-
we've read all the books.
Your birthday card, I put in that channel without looking at anything. I just dropped the link in the chat
That's
because I
fun.
knew you wouldn't see it.
I think that maybe at the end of all this, we'll do a stream where we go and we read through the entire spoiler channel.
Oh my God, that would be a long stream, but yeah, that would be fun. No, Dakuna, the sections so far make total sense.
No, they've been great.
It's just funny.
It's a lot. This
There's-
book is a lot denser than the first 3.
Yeah, there's so much that
Yeah.
happens, and
Yeah.
important stuff, and world building, and things that link to so many other things that
And the characters.
it's been a journey.
The characters have more backstory to their actions now, and so it's, we have to talk more about what has happened in the books that leads up to the decision that they made. Whereas in the past, it's been we're learning about them, and so we're like, they do this thing, oh,
Yeah.
that means they're like this, and then now we're at a point where it's like, oh, Perrin did this thing like 3 books ago, and that's why we've ended up in this situation with Faile, and I think that it's a testament to Robert Jordan's books that they are his writing that these characters just keep getting deeper and deeper, and it's more and more enjoyable to read about them. So
For sure.
This is, I feel like, the book where it starts to really expand in a way that makes it make sense that there are 14 of these.
Yes,
The first day is kind of like, oh, I don't understand how this story's gonna last for so long.
David in like book 2 was like, yeah, I could wrap this up in like 2 books.
Yes, exactly.
This could have been a 4-book series.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously not with what's going to happen, but like, not with Bruiaden. This could have been a book.
Chat has had a couple questions for you if you want to stay for 2 more minutes. They'd love to know if you've seen the show.
I have.
You have?
Yes.
What do you think?
And general, overall...
I liked it a lot more until the last episode of the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a super harsh critic of like things I watch personally.
He's only a harsh critic of himself.
Of myself. No, I don't know. I mean, like, I go into things wanting to enjoy them because they're part of a fandom and a medium that I enjoy. I mean, yeah, I have some issues with it, I guess, but nothing that's crazy. I really don't love the way, like, the last episode of the first season really made me, like, not excited.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really hope that Amazon gives them more money and more time and more episodes. Mother of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a lot that they need to get
They got a lot
through.
they need to cover, and, like, I know that if they, like, hopefully everything, they finish the whole story, and, like, towards the middle, there will probably be stuff that will be easier to do.
Yeah.
Because there's just not as much happens in some of those books, but
apparently they're combining book 2 and 3.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Which is nuts.
There's so much books.
I really like a lot of what they did, and I know that there are people who have problems with some of the way that certain characters, like Aes Sedai, are portrayed and stuff, but I'm also like, when you're changing something to a visual medium, you necessarily have to change sometimes very fundamental things about it. And of course, we all want to see that Aes Sedai stoicism and like the Warders land stoicism and stuff. And I'm like, but it's not exciting to watch a lot.
Yeah.
People who don't.
People who have no expression.
And like you can do it, but
Thank you for that super chat, Rand. More. Don't leave without this, Robbie. Oh, you got a crown.
It's a crown. It's a
You
crown.
dropped it.
Thank you, Rand.
Yeah, I will say, not having read the books first, and they all know this. Lan was my favorite character. I loved him so much.
I think that I think his casting is absolutely perfect. I think a lot of the casting they did is really great.
Yeah.
But him in particular, I was like, wow, he's great. I really love him.
And one more question from chat before we go to wrap up on your favorite character
in the books.
Series.
Well,
in the series.
give us from the show and give us from the book.
But they have to not have appeared. They can't be someone who hasn't appeared yet.
Oh.
It has to be someone we know about.
Okay.
Oh, it does? Okay.
You guys, this is weird, and I know people probably are going to be like, what is wrong with you? I really like Galad?
Galad.
You like Galad?
I like him a lot. I think he's interesting. I think the idea of a character who is so strong in their convictions that it do things that maybe they wouldn't want to do is kind of fascinating.
Oh yeah.
In the show, I really liked Barney Harris.
Yeah.
And I'm sad. I hope
We're
he's
big
okay
fans of
because
him.
no one knows like what happened there. I hope he's okay, and I'm sure whoever they cast to replace him will be wonderful as well. But I really enjoyed his performance as Matt. Though to be fair, Matt's like when you actually give him characterization in the first book. In the first season, unlike they kind of did in the first book.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to be more interesting and fun to watch because he's like funny and not always like, oh god, the world's ending.
Yeah, that's fair. Looks like you got some support for Galad as well.
All right.
Woo.
Yeah.
Y'all, we have to run. We literally have to run out the door. So we're going to go. But thank you so much for watching another episode of the Nerdy Wordy Book Club. If you're listening to this later, thank you so much for tuning in over on any place where you want to listen to podcasts. We're literally everywhere. Sorry the audio for the last 2 episodes hasn't been as good as previous episodes. We're just here in Calgary doing our best. If you want to follow us on the internet, you can. I'm over at Nerdy Nightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Do you want to drop your at?
I mean, I'm at Rob Haltewanger, but I'm never post, so...
It's fine, you don't...
You're going to get an inundation of like, what did you think of this in book 12?
Sure, I mean, I'll talk to you about Wheel of Time.